A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
Countdown for blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight, the time is 1965. The place, a golf course. The story, open warfare.
You wouldn't believe it, but there are some people that think that Caddy is a pet name for a big car. No, I mean it. Over those little wagons you pull around the course or carrying their own clubs, there are people actually playing golf for years, never seen a caddy. As far as I'm concerned, you take the human element out of golf or any sport, and what do you got left? Nothing. I mean, you could say I'm prejudiced on account of my being a caddy, but that's the way I feel about it. Besides which, a caddy is a perfect observer of the passing parade of human experience. I'll give you for instance. Now, you take Jim Pearson. He won the U.S. Open in 1960, 61, and 64. Well, let me tell you about Jim Pearson. He was the pro at the club here, and I remember when it all started. He was out playing with Mr. Hatcher. That Sam Hatcher. He couldn't break 90 if the ball had wings. And in the locker room, he looked like a sack of flour that had been set down hard. But he was loaded with money. Anyway, they were waiting for a foursome of dames who shouldn't have been wearing slacks. When Hatcher turned to Jim, and with a real sweet smile, he lowered the boom.
Jim, you're a good golfer.
Thank you, Mr. Hatcher.
You're a good golfer, even if you can't teach me anything.
Oh, you're coming along fine, Mr. Hatcher.
We've been good to you at the country club, haven't we?
Oh, yes.
I want you to do something for me.
Yes, sir?
Stay away from my daughter.
Oh, Mr. Hatcher.
I won't have Alice marrying a man who has nothing but coordination and muscles.
What?
When I was only your age, I was making $50,000 a year. It takes brains to do that. Brains get more valuable. Muscles deteriorate. There's nothing muscles can do that a machine can't do better.
You don't think I could make $50,000?
I know you can't. You haven't got the guts.
Now, listen, Mr. Hatcher.
I'm just quoting history, Jim. Take the tournament in St. Louis. You blew up. And the Goodall and the Palm Beach. You could have won all those. But you blew. You chickened out.
That's not exactly fair, Mr. Hatcher.
But it's true.
I can make $50,000.
Yes, in your whole life.
Oh, no, in 1 year.
Oh, you can?
Yes, sir.
All right, Jim, you're a sportsman. I'll tell you what I'll do. If you can make $50,000 in 1 year at this infantile pastime that you call golf, you can have Alice.
Why, that's the most arrogant
What's
thing.
the matter, Jim? Don't you think you can do it?
I know I can do it.
All right, then. Is it a bet?
All right, it's a bet.
Very well, then. I believe the ladies are finished. Shall we drive?
Naturally, old man Hatcher set a trap for him. And I guess it worked pretty good, too. Jim knew I heard the whole thing, so he used to talk it over with me. Hey, you've been doing real good this season, Mr. Pearson.
Sure. Been away on the whole circuit. I haven't seen Alice more than 1 day at a time in the last 6 months.
You, hear from Miss Hatcher?
Oh, yes. Yes, I got a telegram right after I won the first tournament. It said, and I quote, "I won't be bought and sold. Signed, Alice."
She found out about that bet, huh?
Yeah, I'm sure her father made sure she did.
Wouldn't it frost you?
It did. It cost me $5,000 in tournament money, and then I just got mad. You know, the cold mad, the kind of mad that puts 20 yards on your drive?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Sometimes when I get sore at the caddy master, I go out to the driving range. Bango! Every time you hit it, you got it right between his eyes.
Yeah, that's the idea. Every time I slam a ball down the fairway, I feel as if I've just belted Hatcher right behind the ear.
You, still figure you got a chance?
Oh, I'm going to get that $50,000 this year, all right. I'm going to win the U.S. Open, and that's worth $25,000 in cash plus vaudeville appearances or Ed Sullivan's television show or something. And I'm going to take the money and I'm going to lay it in front of Alice and I'm going to say, I wasn't buying you. I was buying the right to tell you I love you.
Oh, gee, that's pretty.
All right, never mind. Give me another 7 iron.
Jim Pearson sure was burning up the circuit. He came into the U.S. Open the man to watch. The day the tournament opened, Jimmy Cannon had in his column, "You are Jim Pearson, the hard luck boy with the velvet swing." It was real philosophical. All the sports writers picked him to win. And then Saul showed up. We was on a practice tee. Jim had been sharpening up his number 1 wood when all of a sudden the gallery took off like a batch of big birds. They were around another tee about 100 feet away. Jim knocked off and the two of us strolled over.
Hey, that's some swing. Who is that, Pete?
I never seen him before. His name's Saul.
That's some swing. Hey, he's no amateur. I've never seen him on the pro circuit.
Hey, Mr. Pearson, look at the caddy.
280 yards down there.
That ain't what I mean. Look, he's got a ball bag in his hands. Now watch.
Oh, that's a good catch. He caught that ball right in the bag.
Mr. Pearson, that caddy didn't move that sack. That ball dropped right in 280 yards away.
Oh, it's an accident.
Yeah, look, it happened again.
He's a trick shot artist. Wait till he gets into competition.
I don't know. He just hit another one, dead center.
Oh, there isn't anybody that good. Not even old Joe Kirkwood.
Quite a spectacle, eh, Jim?
Oh, hello, Hatcher.
Must be unnerving to watch something like that.
I can stand it.
But will you be able to stand it when the going gets rough? Will you blow up like you always do? It'll be too bad just when you're so close.
Don't worry about me.
I'm not. I imagine Saul will take care of that.
Oh, you know him?
I brought him here. My own personal entry. He's going to beat you out of the Open. But he's got something to learn. Look at him. Just a dumb country boy who never saw a golf club till a few months ago. I think he might teach you something, Jim.
I could tell Jim was going to have a good day the minute he took his driver out of the bag. He took his practice swings, and they went around clean, grooved, and loose. Would have bet my shirt on him. As a matter of fact, I did. The crowd was sympathetic. They wanted to see him burn up the course.
Well, Pete, we all ready?
Yeah.
What's this? New kind of golf ball?
Oh, yeah, a young fella from the A.B. Wells Sporting Goods Company. He slipped me a fin to talk you into using these balls.
Well, I don't know. Any good?
Yeah, I figured. They guaranteed they had 20 yards to every drive.
Well, I sure could use 20 yards.
Well, he's going to come around to see you later. He wanted to sign you up for testimonials and advertising and things. You know, the golf ball used by Jim Pearson when he won the U.S. Open, that kind of thing. There's a lot of dough in it.
Well, we'll give it a try. Let's tee up.
Oh, he started off real good. A long, straight drive right down the fairway. It was a birdie 4. Jim was clicking them off that day.
There you are, Pete. 34 and a 32 for 66 on the 18. 6 birdies, 12 pars.
Yeah, 3 more rounds like that should win easy. Hey, how are the new golf balls?
Huh? Oh, fine. You know, they aren't kidding. It does average out about 20 yards longer on the drive. I'll have to get a couple more dozen.
We went around to watch Jim's score being posted on the big board. Most of the field was still out, but he was ahead of the closest competitor by 3 strokes.
Who's that?
Oh, somebody coming down the 18th. It must be a hot round. I'll be posting it in a minute.
Oh, Saul.
Hmm?
Yeah, you see there he is walking through the crowd.
Yeah.
Well, here comes the secretary with a score.
Oh, Mr. Pearson, look at it. 32 and 32, 64. 64, that's a new course record.
Yeah, well, it's only the first round.
New course record. Look at that. 3s and 4s, 3s and 4. He ain't over 4 for the whole day.
What's the matter, Jim? You don't look well.
1 round is not a tournament.
Well, comfort yourself while you can. Saul's just getting warmed up. He's that mythical thing, the perfect golfer. But he's dumb. No brains, Jim. No brains at all.
Naturally, in the sports broadcasts and the newspapers, Jim could have been playing on a miniature golf course at Asbury Park, New Jersey. The big news was Saul. They all called him Silent Saul. The odds the boys in the shower room played around with on Pearson took a dive, and you couldn't get even money for Saul. The next morning, Jim's gallery was pretty small. When he stepped up to the ball, there was a smattering of applause like a matinee just before they closed the show. But his drive was as straight as the day before and longer by about 20 yards on the average. Hey, that's a nice putt, Mr. Pearson.
Yeah. Who's that?
That's Saul, I'm afraid. He's coming around behind you.
Well, he's going to have a big fight.
Jim's second nine was a duplicate of the day before. Another 32. He equaled Saul's record-tying score of yesterday. Then when we came in to read it on the big board, he looked like somebody hit him on the head with a driver.
Look at that, Pete. 31 out, 31 back for a 62. He's got me by 2 strokes today.
And 4 strokes in all. What do you got to say, Jim?
Oh, nothing, Mr. Hatcher. Throw me the soap, will you, Pete?
Yeah, sure, Mr. Pearson. Yeah.
Thanks. You know, there's something wrong, Pete. Just doesn't happen this way.
That's tough luck, Mr. Pearson.
Oh, no, it's not that. People don't just pop out of nowhere and break all records at the Open. Men don't take up golf and become perfect golfers in a month. He's got to have some weakness.
Well, if he has, he ain't shown it yet.
Well, I've got to find it.
Jim was out the next morning, and he came in with a classy 32. On the back nine, he slipped a stroke to 33. He was still 4 down. He shook off a couple of reporters who were trying to egg him into a feud with this Saul, and the two of us just hung around in the crowd watching Silent Saul. His first drive went a clean 300 yards down the fairway, straight as a ruler.
Pete, there's something about his swing. There's something about it. I've seen it before.
Oh, you never saw that Silent Saul before, Mr. Pearson.
Still, there's something about his swing.
On the follow-up shot, Saul had about 240 to go. He took a club from his bag and took a few wiggling gestures, set his driver behind the ball, and swung.
Pete? Did you see that swing? Those wiggles?
Yeah, well, a lot of guys do that.
Yeah, but it's unnecessary. I mean, you don't have to make those wiggles before you address the ball.
Yeah, sure, and you don't have to spit 3 times every time you got a tough putt, but you do.
But there's still something strange about him. Everything about him is perfection, except those wiggles. And he doesn't talk. Look at him putting. Just look at him.
Mm-hmm.
That could be Todd Winters, couldn't it?
Yeah, he does look something like Winters.
Yeah, when he putts. But that iron shot, who wiggles like that? Who does those wiggles? George Potter.
Yeah, I guess he does.
Yeah, and the approach shot, Pete. That's Gordon Brown. Nobody else bends the knee that way.
He really gave it a lot of study, huh?
And the drive. That grooved swing on the drive. Pete, come on. I've watched enough.
Pearson, a 63, I see. You're 6 strokes behind with 1 round to go. You want to give up now?
I don't think I will. I think we'd better talk about it privately.
Oh, that won't be necessary.
Well, it doesn't matter to me, but I know that Saul is a robot.
So you think he's a robot?
Isn't he?
Of course he is. How does it feel to be beaten at your own game by a mindless machine?
Oh, you haven't won yet. The golf ball takes some funny bounces.
How did you find out about Saul?
Oh, Saul is a lot of things, but none of them is Saul. He's Todd Winters, George Potter, Gordon Brown, and his drive, that's me. You copied it after me. Take us away and there's nothing left. Tell me, how'd you do it?
Money can do anything. All it needs is a purpose. We've been working on colloidal brains up at our place. Our new miniature atomic power plant is ideal. You throw in some sensory mechanisms, some relays, feed in analysis of a slow-motion pictorial study.
And you have a golf machine. Must have cost hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Closer to $1 million.
$1 million? $1 million to keep me from winning $25,000? Don't you think that's unfair?
Unfair? You listen to me. Nothing is unfair that doesn't break the rules. And the only rule worth remembering is this, that the best man always wins.
You mean the best machine?
A machine is only an extension of a man, like your golf club. I don't happen to be endowed with golfing muscles and responses you do. Those in your golf clubs let you hit a ball farther and straighter than anybody else. Saul lets me hit a ball farther and straighter than you do. It's as simple as that.
Oh, no, wait a minute. That wasn't the bet. The bet was that I couldn't make $50,000 in a year.
Maybe it was your bet. It wasn't mine. I bet that I could beat you at your own game. I don't think that you're good enough for Alice. You're not smart enough, not man enough. Should I let a few well-distributed, well-trained muscles blind her to what you really are?
And what's that?
You're a quitter. You can't stand pressure. You're no competitor. If you can't win at your own game, you can't win at anything else.
Suppose I win tomorrow.
6 strokes back? Playing against the perfect golfer?
Suppose.
Then I'd have to admit I was wrong. You have my word on that. And you could also have Alice, if she wants you.
Somewhere, Saul must have an Achilles heel. Pete, the prime fact about man is his adaptability.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
They've got to build in at least one constant, if not more. How about judgment?
I don't think so. They could tell whether he'd have wind or rain or the sun or slow greens or something. They got to take care of that.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Hey, maybe you could jimmy him. Drop sugar in his gas tank or something, smash him up.
Oh, no. That isn't fair.
Saul is fair.
Well, Mr. Hatcher, he's playing fair according to his lights. He could have had me crippled or poisoned or something, but he didn't. Well, I'll just have to beat him on our own ground on the golf course.
Oh, I don't know, Mr. Pearson. You'll have to shoot in the 50s.
Well, the golf ball takes some funny bounces.
Yeah, it sure does.
Wait a minute, there is a constant. Listen, Pete, you know Saul's caddy?
Yeah, I know him. An illiterate type of guy, yeah.
Could he use $10 or maybe 20 or 50?
He's a caddy, isn't he?
All right. Pete, I want you to talk to him. You'll do better than I can.
The management of the tournament is no fool. They know which side their television rights are butted on, and they had Saul and Jim paired for the final round. Jim's drive took a tail-end hook. It dived into the rough behind a clump of trees. It wasn't a very happy start. Saul took a ball from his caddy, teed it up, and settled himself. Hey, that's some drive, Mr. Pearson.
Yeah, that was some drive. It's about 340 yards, isn't it? Some drive.
You got a tough lie there on your ball, Mr. Pearson. You going to play it safe out on the fairway?
No. You see that hole between those two trees?
Mr. Pearson, that ain't sensible golf.
Pete, sensible golf won't win.
Well, he made it. The ball went through the opening and rolled to a stop just in front of the green. Saul's easy 4-iron shot was dead on the pin all the way. But it hit the back edge of the green and hopped into the rough. Jim took an easy putt for a birdie, and Saul's recovery was long, and 2 putts gave him a par.
Well, that's one of the strokes I need.
And that's the way it went. Jim's game sparkled, and Saul's game kept finding trouble. For the first 9, Jim came in with a scorching 30, while Saul came in with a 33. Kept on like that. Saul kept overshooting the green. They came into the 18th hole with Saul still 2 strokes up. Now, look, don't you worry, Mr. Pearson. You're going to tie him for sure.
Oh, that's no good, Pete. By tomorrow, his game will be on again perfectly.
Jim's drive sliced behind a fringe of trees. He had to shoot blind. He made it on the green, about 25 feet from the cup.
Okay, Pete. This is it. Saul's in for a 5.
Don't you worry, Mr. Pearson. Don't you worry.
Okay, I won't.
He lined it up. He studied the green. He noted the slope and the lay of the grass. And then he stroked the ball. We did it, Mr. Pearson. We did it. You're the new U.S. Open champion. Well, we finally busted loose from the television and the movies and all those hangers-on, and we ducked around the back to the pro shop, where we run into Mr. Hatcher.
How did you do it?
Well, Mr. Hatcher, under extremely restricted sets of circumstances, a machine is better than a man, but over the long run, over the gamut of situations, a machine doesn't have a chance. Just can't compete.
I still don't understand. It cost $1 million. $1 million.
Here, have a souvenir.
You can take this golf ball.
No. Look at it. That's the ball Saul was using.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's another brand. That isn't Saul's regular ball.
That's right. It's a new one. Guaranteed to add 20 yards to the average drive.
But that's unfair.
Well, your robot was built in with one constant. It had to be a golf ball. Well, it just couldn't adapt to a better ball.
But that's not fair. Why, that's... Well. How about...
There are no perfect golfers, Mr. Hatcher. There are only good ones and better ones. But, well, I've been thinking about this robot of yours, and I'll be around in a few days to talk to you at your office.
Huh? About what?
Well, I'm sure you don't want to support your son-in-law for the rest of his life. And I have $50,000 to invest in business making robots. Useful robots. And leave golf to the men. They're better competitors. Now, if you'll excuse me, Mr. Hatcher, I've got a telephone call to make to your daughter.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features The Other Celia, a story which proves that something drastic should happen to all snoopers, but nothing as shocking and frightful as this. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Open Warfare, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by James E. Gunn and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in our cast were Jack Grimes as Pete, Larry Haynes as Jim, and Wendell Holmes as Mr. Hatcher. This is Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
The strange island of Euclidia becomes more mysterious and terrifying with every discovery Jerry and his friends make on this weird artificial stronghold. Captain Bradford has decided that the seaweed cloth, from which all clothes on the island are made, will keep out all sound and light beams and rays, and is trying to plan a method of using this cloth to aid in their escape. Joan, Mrs. Gregory, Jerry, and Tex were inspecting the cloth factory when the alarm sounded. Someone escaping from the island. Escaping from the very pier where the Gregory yacht is held. Jerry has run off after some of the island men to watch them prepare for the capture of the escaping man.
I wish Jerry had stayed with us. These terrible men may be very angry to find Jerry following them.
You need not worry about that, Mother. Jerry may go with them if he wishes, but he may see someone receive a horrible punishment when they catch the escaping man.
You say when they catch him, not if? Isn't there any chance at all of getting away?
No, Captain Bradford. G-47 has been here for many years, and since he started this colony all alone, no one has ever escaped.
Where did the men go, the men Jerry was following?
I think they went down into one of the submarine locks.
Going to use a submarine in the chase, eh? Not much chance for anyone to get away, I guess.
Isn't it strange that everything should be so quiet? Someone is escaping from the island. We heard the alarm. Yet there's no confusion, no soul in sight.
There is never any confusion on Euclidia. Each man and woman on the island have their places and duties for every emergency. They go about their work just as quietly and naturally as you would eat a meal.
This is going to be a hard job, Pep, but we'll find some way to beat them at their own game. Hello, there's Hanson standing on the yacht, waving for us to come to the rail.
Then it must have been someone off the yacht who escaped.
Looks like it. Come on.
Who is this Hanson, Mother?
Our engineer. A fine, steady sailor who's had the motors of my boats for 3 years.
He's all excited about something now. He's pointing at the bridge, then down into the water. It was the skipper then.
Oh.
But what kind of a crazy scheme did he try to put over? The boats are both there. I hope he wasn't wild enough to try to swim for it.
Look, Tex. Hanson has a note in his hand and his finger to his lips.
He means for the captain to read the note and say nothing.
Yeah, that's what I expect. Well, we'll see. Well, what is it, Hanson? Oh, all right. Yes, I understand. Yes, you did just right. Everything you could have said would probably have been overheard. I'll call if I want you, Hanson. Thanks.
Isn't it strange how loud his footsteps sound on the deck of the yacht and ours make no sound on the island floor.
Those sounds are very comforting to me, dear. And you will learn to live in our world where natural things make the natural sounds they ought to make. Good, healthy, natural sounds. All this perfection of silence here, it's too much for me.
But I can't tell you what is in this note until I get it under some of their ray-deflecting cloth and show it to you. I'm even afraid to hold it out in the light any longer for fear they have read it. But it's good news. Good old Skipper.
Well, can we take it in the cabin now and discuss it? We have enough of the cloth to screen a room or at least a section of a cabin.
But I want to go back and look for Jerry. The men should be coming back now, and I want to meet that foolish boy before he makes them angry. He will ask too many questions, and that they will not like.
Good idea, Joan. Take your mother with you. Go and find the kid and keep his mouth shut. He hasn't opened it too far already. I'm going aboard the yacht and do a little figuring on this note.
The alarm again. That means they have not found the one who escaped. They will be sending out another party to search the ocean.
That alarm was 7 strokes. What does that mean?
Another person has escaped near Pier 7, or the one who escaped before has been seen near Pier 7.
That was 10. Does that mean Pier 10, Joan?
Why, yes. But I cannot understand that. There could not be 3 different people escaping from 3 different places at the same time.
And why is that impossible?
Because when the first alarm sounded, everyone on the island except the searchers and our little party would have been locked in their quarters.
Tex, do you know what all this means?
Well, I've got a good idea. Unless I'm mistaken, all the other alarms will ring before they get done. Now, you two try to find Jerry and get him back to the yacht before he does or says anything to get them angry enough to throw him in a cell. I'm going aboard the yacht. You board it and come to the radio cabin as soon as you find Jerry.
I have never known anything like this to happen. What can it be, Mother?
I think the captain has an idea, dear, but you mustn't ask him now, for fear someone might overhear our answers. We'll go, Tex, and report to you just as soon as we find Jerry.
Well, good luck. Now, if I'm only figuring this thing right. Good old Skipper. There's no need to bother with this cloth over my head now. Everyone's too busy running down these alarms to listen for my radio beam. Boy, the old Skipper is sure stirring things up. Now, if I can only raise Johnson while all this hubbub is going on. Oh, of course, I'd have to wait for the set to warm up. Hanson could have gotten that note to me a little quicker. The old boy's got him on the run. But how long he can keep it up remains to be seen.
Calling J24Y. Hello, J24. J12 to J24Y.
Here he is now. Hello, J12. Hello, Johnson. Bradford on J24Y to Johnson. Hello, J12.
I've been trying to get you for an hour, J24. Hello, J24Y. J12 standing by for emergency call. Something wrong your last message. Hello, J24. Hello.
Okay, J12. Listen carefully. Get this right. No time repeat or confirm. Our position correct as given you before. Latitude 29 south. Longitude 124.30 west. Island is colony of mad scientists. Surrounded by magnetic belt and radio beam craft.
Calling J24Y. Johnson to Bradford.
What's the matter, Johnson? Can't you hear me? Your signal is perfect here. Hello, Johnson. Hello, J12.
J12 to J24Y. Calling Bradford on J24Y. Your directional carrier faded an hour ago. No signal from you. Where are you, J24Y?
I'm not getting out. Something wrong with this set. Yeah, the skipper is keeping them entertained, but it won't do any good if I can't get through here pretty quick. Hello, J12. J12. This is Bradford on J24Y. Can you hear me, J12?
You can hear me. J12 signing off. Have several private phone stations trying to reach you. If you can hear this and need aid, get message to land station for cable relay. J12 standing by.
Oh, he's gone and he couldn't even hear my signal. That sounds like the search might be all over, and our one chance is gone.
You had no chance. Did you give me so little credit as to think I would leave your radio beam open just because some silly fool wanted to experiment with my punishment for attempted escape? Your directional beam is being completely absorbed by our metallic blanket. You may speak to me through your radio. If you can think of anything intelligent to say...
I have nothing to say.
You at least have that much intelligence, and for your satisfaction, I might add that your skipper is now my prisoner.
What are you going to do with him?
You will never see him again. Now, your friends are about to enter your cabin, bringing with them enough of the cloth you want so badly that you may line your council chamber with it. You may talk without fear of my hearing you, and plan more of your silly attempts to escape. But please do not compel me to remind you again of the stupidity of trying to use your radio.
I'll get that fellow someday if it's my last act.
Oh, Tex, I've just heard the most terrible thing. Was that the skipper who tried to escape?
Yes, Pat. What happened to him?
They turned the full power of all the current on the island into the screens at the end of the piers. A man swimming within 100 feet of the ends of those piers would be paralyzed and drown at once.
That's bad. For the moment, I'll have to ask you to forget it and help me rig up a screen of this cloth we have, big enough for the three of us to talk under at once. I have some news, too. Use the porthole screws and the backs of the chairs. Lay some on the floor. I've got to talk to you at once.
Will this be all right if I put some over here, Captain?
That's the idea.
We're almost hemmed in now. The floor is covered.
The radio panel will do for this side. Not much air in here, but what I have to say won't take long.
How can we hold it over our heads?
I guess we'll have to do just that. Hold it.
All right. There isn't a speck of light coming in any place now. Now listen closely while I tell you what happened.
Yes?
The skipper staged that escape so I could have a chance to use this radio without being overheard.
What?
That was what the note said that Hansen gave me.
And did you use the radio?
Yes, and the only one who heard me was G47.
Oh.
I should have known he would intercept my beam.
Did you get any of your message through, Captain?
Not a word of it. I could hear Johnson trying to call me all the time, but he couldn't even get my signal.
Oh, then it was all useless. And the skipper... Oh, Tex, I feel so badly about that. He was a fine man and a grand friend of ours.
Yeah, keep your chin up, Pat. That's the one bright spot in the whole thing.
But, Captain, the skipper must have been killed. They always are when they try to swim through the electric net.
Yes, but the skipper didn't try to do that. He merely used my air rifle. Doesn't make a sound. And he shot through the portholes here so he wouldn't be seen.
Well.
Shot pieces of steel wire at the ends of all the piers at range the gun would reach.
No.
He knew those metal pieces striking the water would set off the magnetic alarm.
Then where is he?
Safe in a locker down on the keel. G47 tried to bluff me about having the skipper a prisoner, so they haven't located him. We can smuggle this cloth and food to him. We've got one more on our sides than they know anything about.
Oh, that is fine, Captain.
That almost makes up for the radio message not getting through. We've got a man whom G47 thinks is missing, and we may be able to use him in many ways. Good old skipper.
Now, with this cloth, we may be able to do something with an idea Jerry had. Say, where is Jerry?
Why, we thought he had come here to you.
We saw the searching party return.
And Jerry wasn't with him?
No, Tex. He wasn't.
Oh, Mother, I am afraid for Jerry.
On the strange island of Euclidia, the magic island of the South Seas, is being enacted one of the weirdest dramas ever seen by man. When Mrs. Gregory brought Captain Tex Bradford and Jerry Hall on her yacht to find her long-lost little daughter Joan, none of them dreamed that the island would be anything like it's been found to be. This artificial island is the headquarters of a group of mad scientists. The Gregory yacht is held powerless at one of the island piers, and Mrs. Gregory and her brave friends try to plan their escape from the island. Just when it seems they have a ray of hope, Jerry disappears.
Are you sure that you saw Jerry follow those scientists in the submarine lock when they went to look for the escaping prisoner? Or what they thought was an escaping prisoner?
We watched him carefully. You saw him go into that elevator, didn't you, Joan?
Yes, Mother. Jerry obviously went into the entrance to the submarine chamber elevators. He could have gone no other place.
But what happened to him? If he went down there with those men, why didn't he come back with them?
Oh, Captain Bradford, there might be so many answers to that.
Joan, dear, you don't think they would harm Jerry?
If Jerry got in their way or made them angry, they might punish him in ways that... Oh, Mother, I do not want to talk about such things.
Can't we do something, Tex? Must we just sit here on this helpless yacht and wonder what's happened to that boy?
We would not be allowed to do anything if we tried to.
I'm afraid Joan's right, Pat. I think G-47 and his mad crew have even worse things on this island than Joan has told us about. We couldn't find Jerry unless they want us to. If we insist too hard on anything, it may mean the lives of all of us. And it certainly would mean the end of our chance of escape.
But, Tex, dear, we have no chance to escape as it is.
I think, Captain Tex, that no one will ever escape from Euclidia until G-47 wills it so.
Well, don't be too sure of that. I'll admit it looks bad enough right now. But there's two things to remember. The first one is, I've got a formula these scientists know something of, and they're afraid of it.
What is the formula, Captain?
Tex wouldn't dare tell you now, Joan. Of course, we think we're safe in talking with this cloth screen around us, but how can we be sure this cloth is absolutely opaque to all the waves and rays these fiends control to watch over our movements with?
You may be sure of that, Mother. I know that these men would trust their lives to that cloth. It will successfully refract every light and sound wavelength on the island.
Well, if you're sure of that, Joan, then you can be sure that one of these days we'll get away from Euclidia.
How can that seaweed cloth mean all that, Tex?
I'm not thinking so much of the material as I am of the fluid they soak it in. They do put it in the liquid, you said, Joan?
Yes, Captain. When it is manufactured in the noisy machines I showed you, it is just a cloth made from seaweed. It is a fine and strong and good cloth, but it is not protected against these rays until it has been immersed in the secret liquid preparation.
What are you trying to arrive at, Tex?
Well, I'm going to take a chance on our being safe in here and figure that we can work out a plan without being overheard. After all, we must all understand just what we expect to do. Now, here are 2 points necessary to our rescue.
You mean our escape?
No, I mean rescue. I'm ready to concede that escape is absolutely impossible. So that leaves rescue as our only hope.
But, Captain Bradford, surely you must realize that rescue is also impossible.
On the contrary, dear. We have some things in our world that you know little about. All we need is to get a message through to the government of our country, any civilized country, and a fleet of battleships and airplanes would destroy this island within an hour after they had sighted it.
No, Mother dear, you are mistaken. Your battleships would mean nothing here.
Tex, do you realize what Joan means? Is it possible?
Not only possible, but probably a very conservative statement of a plain fact.
A battle fleet helpless? But how? With what?
I haven't been able to find out yet. Probably we'll never see all the weapons here. But I know without seeing them, this colony of scientific criminals could undoubtedly destroy any war machines a civilized world could send against them.
You are right, Captain. G-47 and the Euclideans have ray guns, no larger than a man's arm, which will destroy a battleship with only a little crying sound.
What is the range of these rays?
I am not sure, but they will not shoot accurately as far as one of the large rifles on your battleship.
There you are, Tex. The heavy armored ships could stay out of range of those ray guns and shell the island.
Yes, and their projectiles would fall all around the island and never touch it. How is a metal projectile, fired at long range and high trajectory, going to enter an area so magnetized that a large boat is held powerless by magnetism? No, there's no help to be expected from that quarter.
And a weapon which might penetrate the defense here could not be brought within range. It would be destroyed.
Then it's just about hopeless, isn't it, Tex?
No, it's going to be hard, but not hopeless.
I don't see what you can be thinking of. We haven't any weapons I ever heard of which would destroy this place, and you admit our battleships and planes would be useless.
Do you know of something in your country which will destroy Euclidia? Something which will rescue us from this terrible island?
Yes, Joan, I do. Just how it can be used and how we are to get word to our friends that we want them to attack and use this weapon, those are things we've got to figure out.
What do you propose to use, Tex?
My formula.
But no one knows the formula except yourself. You would have to send the formula to someone, and how can we do that? We can't even use the radio without G47 hearing it.
And he would get the formula if you attempted to give it to your friends through the air channel.
Yes, I know that, but there must be some way to get that formula to the government chemist in some civilized capital, and we'll find out what that way is.
But what is the formula, Captain? I know that G47 wants it. It was for that reason he allowed your yacht to reach this island, and my mother to find me. What is your wonderful formula, Captain?
I couldn't tell you that. It would be too dangerous. Even if the seaweed cloth does protect us from sight and sound waves, and even if G47 didn't actually hear me tell you the formula, it would expose you to added danger.
Don't you see, my dear? If you knew the formula, G47 might torture you to get it from you. Tex has protected Jerry and me the same way. No one in the world knows the formula but the captain. And everyone knows that he alone has it, so the rest of us are safe in that way.
I did not mean to tell me the ingredients of the formula, but just what it will do. G47 knows that much about it now.
Yes, I thought so. And G47 knows a great deal about my formula. Well, enough of that. We'd better be thinking about Jerry and what we can do for him.
We can do nothing. Only wait. Wait until it pleases G47 to allow Jerry to return to us.
Is this true, Tex? With all your knowledge of science, all my money and influence, and all our friends in the world out there, we must just sit quietly while a mad scientist does as he pleases with one of our party?
Yes, I guess that's about right. Here we are, sitting in a cloth room within a little cabin, trying to plan an escape from the most powerful man the world of science has produced.
I wish Jerry were here. You do not understand the terrible things that could happen to him here on this island.
Don't you think we ought to go and look for him, Tex?
I'm sorry, but I don't. Whatever has happened to the boy, it's something G47 has planned to have happen to him. And for the sake of ourselves, our rescue, and possibly the safety of many others, we've got to keep quiet and let G47 do as he pleases. I think there's no danger of his hurting Jerry, or any of us, unless
J12.
Unless he gets my formula, then.
J12C calling J24Y. Hello, J24.
There's Johnson.
Hello, J24Y. Hello, Bradford. J12C standing by. Your last message received and logged. Your position 29 south, 124.30 west. Can't understand why no signal from you, since I warned you of storm center at 27 degrees south. We'll be standing by when possible. Johnson standing by.
Good old Johnson. He'll get to us some way. He knows that I would have the receiver standing open if possible. It won't be long until we have a friend within striking distance.
Hey there. What's the idea of the tent?
Oh, it's Jerry.
Come inside the little tent, Jerry, and be careful not to leave any opening.
Boy, have I had a time. And have I seen things.
They didn't hurt you, did they, son?
No, not yet. But they showed me plenty of things they could hurt me with if they wanted to. I've been in their local observation chamber, looking through the instruments that let you see everything on the island, and inside it, too.
Could you see us in here?
No, sir. This cloth is the real stuff. I could see through every other place on the yacht, but this cabin just showed as a black square. We couldn't see or hear anything you were doing here, but we could see the skipper.
Oh, then our plan to keep the skipper in hiding is blown up.
I was of the opinion that it would do no good to hide him in the hold of the boat without this cloth to cover him.
No wonder they weren't more worried about his escape attempt. And of course they gave up looking for him just as soon as their instruments located him on the yacht.
I guess they let me see all that, just so it would scare us out of not trying any more tricks on them.
Well, we're going to try one more, just the same. You're sure we can talk freely here, kid?
Oh, absolutely. This cloth stops all the loud and sound waves.
Okay, then. Pat, will you and Joan take a few turns around the deck, just to be sure no one surprises us, while Jerry and I work out a little plan?
Of course, Tex. Come on, Joan. Call us when you're ready.
Now, Jerry, we've got to figure how to get the formula of my universal solvent to Johnson. I didn't want Joan to know about it. Then she'll be safe from G47 when he tries to find out more about it.
The universal solvent? So that's the formula.
Yes, Jerry, I've actually got the formula for a universal solvent.
Oh, swell. Oh, but when you make some of it, what are you going to keep it in?
You're all right, kid. You use your head, don't you?
Well, I figure that if you have something which will dissolve everything in the world, it would be impossible to keep it in any container. It would just eat right through it.
Good boy. But I can do it just the same. And I'll show you how when the time comes. Just now, we've got to figure how to get the formula to Johnson. He's a lot closer to us than he was right now.
Gee, how do you know that?
We just heard his signal. I'm keeping this set hot all the time. Only the receiver, of course. And Johnson said he was standing by. And that the latitude of the storm center is now 27 degrees south. That's all in our code.
I remember. He means he's on his way here with a boat, and he'll stand along north of us at latitude 27 south till we can get a message to him.
Right, kid. And even if they intercepted his message here, they wouldn't get much out of it. Now I know how Johnson can rescue us, if I can figure how to get that formula to him.
But with this magnetic fog of theirs intercepting all our messages, how can we do that? Heck, a cold would be too dangerous for that formula.
There is only one way I can think of that a message can be safely run past the automatic protection ring on this island.
Is there really a chance, Tex?
More than a chance. And it's all thanks to Mrs. Gregory's good sense that they're on board. She's carried them on every cruise we've ever made and trained them constantly. Now they're going to save us all. They'll get that message to Johnson.
Exploring tomorrow. And now here is your guide to these adventures of the mind, John Campbell, Jr.
There's the old saying, you'll do it and like it. And, of course, a man can, by physical force, make you do it. How would you like to have it so that you would like it, too? There are two basic ways that you can be happy in this world. One, of course, is to have everything you want in just the way you want it and never have any difficulties or troubles. This method is ideal, perhaps, but not very probable. Only one person in the world could have that, I guess. The other method, for absolute, complete happiness, would be to like anything that you got, no matter what it was. The first approach is the one that makes sense, of course. That's the one we work for. We earn it. The other seems so much easier.
Stop barking. Stop barking. Stop barking. Barking. No, that's all right, dog. You bark as much as you want. Oh, how I wish I could get mad. In the old days, I'd have gone up that dog and told him to shut up, and that'd been that, but no more. Just as soon as I start to get good and sore about something, my mind kind of all creams up in the happiness effect, and I'm not sore anymore. And everybody here in Benton, I guess most everybody in the country is just like me. We've all had our brains written on, and we're all happy. Here I am, chief of police of Benton, and never a crime to speak of unless it's overtime air parking, and what kind of crime you call that? Henry! Oh, here he comes. Our own Doc Royd, the man responsible for all our happiness. He's supposed to be just about the best brain rider this side of the Mississippi. Henry! Slobbo, that's what I call him. Old wet lips, always do good and always grinning. But behind that grin, believe me, ice. If you need an enemy, just have Doc Royden for a friend.
Henry, didn't you hear me calling to you?
Oh, sorry, Doc. I guess I just kind of stand here thinking.
Happy thoughts, I hope.
Oh, sure, happy thoughts. Sure. What can I do for you, Doc?
A fellow just came into town, suspicious. Painting pictures out at Willow Hollow.
There's law against painting pictures at Willow Hollow?
Now, Henry, you know I got to keep my eyes on things. Wasn't for us brain lighters, there'd be all kinds of irresponsibles roaming around. And these artists, they're the worst kind. You know that. You remember there was a day when you were headed for that kind of trouble?
Yeah, I remember. I was pretty good baritone, too. You sure brain wrote me out of that notion.
And aren't you better for it? You're a responsible citizen, happily married, well-adjusted, doing a job that's socially useful.
Yeah. What about this fella I'm supposed to investigate?
The name of Arnold Vivian.
And he's been painting up at Willow Hollow?
That's right. Doesn't do anything all day long but paint.
Single?
No wife, no children, no nothing. He just paints.
Well, remember, as long as he just paints, that's legal.
Now, Henry.
Now, don't Henry me, Doc. I'll look into it. That's all I can promise.
All right, that's all I ask. Goodbye, Henry. mighty pretty landscape you're painting.
Why, thank you. Willow Hollow makes a mighty pretty landscape to paint.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, that's all right. I never mind a little talk when I'm painting. What can I do for you?
Your name Arnold Vivian?
That's right.
I'm Henry Horner, Chief of Police.
Nice to meet you. Chief of... What seems to be the trouble?
No trouble. I just out here to give you a kind of friendly warning.
About what?
This town of Benton you're in needs new young men, Arnold. If you should happen to get in any trouble here, we got a real fast brainwriter who likes to straighten people out.
I don't get into trouble.
Well, just keep in mind we need workers these days. Like our brainwriter would say, who needs pictures on canvas?
Who needs pictures on canvas? Why, Mr. Policeman, me. Maybe someday a few others will agree with me.
Well, maybe. I used to be a sort of artistic fella myself. Baritone concert style.
Yeah, I'll bet you're good on a police whistle, too. Don't worry about me, Mr. Horner. Just go back and tell your brainwriter. Here's one traveling man he won't ever get to use his scalpel on.
Every Saturday night, Benton has a dance. I usually don't go near it myself because since the brain writing, everybody's pretty well adjusted and ain't any police-type trouble. This Saturday night, though, I dropped in toward the middle of the evening.
Hi, Mr. Horner.
Why, hello, Arnold. Having a good time?
Heck yes. I've been dancing with all the girls. They love me, and I love them.
Staying out of trouble?
The only trouble I ever have is with pictures on canvas.
Well, don't go getting drunk and signing a job contract with Big Fellum at the Brickyard or with Tom Hart, or you'll forget pictures.
I'm immune to job contracts. Also, it may interest you to know that both Mr. Hart and Mr. Fellum each bought a painting for me tonight, paid cash on the barrelhead.
Well, that's a surprise. Well, I wonder what they're up to.
Well, why should they be up to anything? They just like my pictures. I guess they like me, too. They invited me to play poker with them after the dance tonight.
You turned them down, of course.
Heck no. I like taking money from people at poker.
Well, they're more likely to do the taking, and once you're broke, you'll just have to go to work.
Mr. Horner, when are you going to stop worrying about me? I told you I can take care of myself.
And he could, too. When the poker game broke up about 3 a.m., he was the winner. Everybody was griping, all except Doc Royden, who sat there, his close-set eyes glittering behind thick spectacles.
Imagine him taking me for $30. Imagine.
Well, he knows people, he knows cards, he knows women. You're not going to brainwrite that boy.
You want to bet, Henry? You just want to make a little bet.
Whether it's a crowded highway or a narrow street, a smooth, even flow of traffic is one of the essentials of safe driving. Speeding is an obvious hazard, but it can also be suicide. Slowpoke driving is dangerous, too, because it causes rear-end collisions and tempts other motorists into taking deadly chances in passing. The eccentric behavior of the lane switcher, the driver who weaves in and out, often is the cause behind frightful smash-ups. So don't be a cause, and don't be a victim. Arrive alive.
There are two difficulties with the happiness idea. One of them is that actually we need to earn happiness to enjoy it, that we don't really want to work for it. The drug addict has happiness that he doesn't have to work for, really. The other difficulty is happiness in whose terms? Many times, the other fellow figures that you ought to be happy with what he's giving you.
That's right.
Henry, wake up and scoot over to Tony Holland's shack on the edge of the holler.
What's the matter, Doc?
There's been a crime. Get over here as fast as you can.
Somebody's got to keep an eye on our citizens at the police force.
Now, wait a minute.
Well, it's a good thing I was out this way.
Where's Tony?
I gave him a sleep injection. The poor fella, he was bashed on the head and all his savings were stolen. $302.
Well, can't you wake him up so he can tell me himself?
No need. I got all the information you'll want.
Who does he think did it?
He doesn't know, but I've got a good idea.
Yeah, like who?
Well, let's eliminate. It couldn't have been a passing tramp. Since brainwriting, there aren't any. And if you can't say it was anyone in town, they're all adjusted and wouldn't commit no crimes.
So?
There might be somebody around who wanders in the holler in the daytime, poking around and pretending to be what he ain't.
Well, it wasn't Arnold Vivian.
How do you know?
Because he's not that stupid. He knows he'd be the most likely suspect.
Maybe you'd just better check up on him, Henry.
Doc, you're the brainwriter. They called you in after the maladjusted guy's been caught, but I'm the cop. I run my investigations the way I want, and I'm not going to build a case against Arnold Vivian.
What are you going to do?
You write on brains. Try reading one.
So you figure Doc Royden's trying to frame me, huh?
Looks that way.
Well, it's ridiculous. I just took you people at poker for enough money to live for 3 weeks. Why should I take a chance on getting my head written on?
Have you missed any of your stuff?
Oh, just my pen and pencil set that I lost jumping around at the dance last night. Hey, wait a minute. That'd make a fine clue, wouldn't it, at the scene of the crime?
It sure would.
Well, was it found over there?
Not yet, but it will be. That's not important, though. What is important is this. Tony Holland has one peculiarity. He marks $20 bills. Figures he can follow how the money goes around town that way. Now, you don't draw any money from the local bank or in salary, so you just better not have any local $20 bills marked by Tony.
Hey, whose side are you on?
I used to sing baritone, remember?
Police, I like you.
Artist, I kind of like you, too.
Henry, look what we found at Tony's. Look here.
Yeah, I know. You found a clue, a pen or a pencil, or both. We know all about it, Doc. Arnold, I better run you in, at least until we can investigate further. It'll look better.
Why, certainly. No trouble at all, Mr. Horner. Glad to come along.
I pressed for a hearing right away, figuring that Arnold could be cleared and then leave town. He figured the same, that it wasn't healthy to hang around a place that needed new talent so bad. The hearing went real fine. From the start, I testified that Arnold had been fast asleep at the time the crime was committed, and I swore that the pen and pencil had been planted in Tony's house. Then suddenly they were talking about marked $20 bills.
Well, I couldn't possibly have any 20s, Judge. I just told you, there's absolutely no way that I could have... Unless... No. Let me out of here! It's a frame-up, I tell you!
There is no tool that is either good or evil. There's nothing that in itself is good or bad. It's the way it's used. Logic is a wonderful thing, of great value to man and his progress. But in this trial here, you've seen what can be done with logic when someone is out to prove what he wants to prove and is not in the slightest interested in getting the truth.
There's just one thing I want to say. I've seen a lot of raw deals, but the way you have it here with the singing cop to set it up is the slickest I ever saw. You win.
As chief of police, I had to be present at the brainwriting. Doc's nurse gave Arnold the needle jab in the back of the neck, and after that he sat there like a stone man, able to hear but paralyzed.
Now, Henry, there we are. Yes, the clay model is ready to take the impressions from Arnold's brain, so we'll have an exact duplicate. Now we put this cap on Arnold's head so the electronic fingers in it can do the measuring. That's a good boy. It won't take long now. Attach these wires to the automatic computer that we put above the clay model, and there we are. An exact model of Arnold's brain. All right, let's take a look. Oh, me, oh, my. There's a brain that needs writing. All right. Look here, you see that? Decayed memory spots. Artistic imagination, decayed sensory impressions, quite useless in an adjusted society. Now we just take the scalpel and start doing away with these 6 synapses in the brain model, substituting good ones. Isn't that what we do, Henry?
Yeah, that's what we do, all right. You erase the bad ones and carve some good ones, and then when his own brain gets the impression, the guy's adjusted from then on. Everybody does what they should, and they don't need no religion, no morals, no psychology, nothing. Just brain writing and the world's work gets done.
Now, Henry, you always miss the most important part. After I get rid of the illogical synapses, I do one special cut with my stylus. There, I'm doing it now. And that's the happiness effect. Then your adjusted man not only does what he ought to, he's happy about it. There we are. Oh, that looks beautiful. Oh, that looks almost like the master brain. Let me get it and show it to you, Henry. It's real interesting. I'll be back in a second.
Arnold, I sure wish I could help you. Wait a minute. Maybe I can. I'm going to try to put back some of those synapses cut out. Here's the scalpel. Yeah, there's one he did. There's another. Maybe I can help you keep some of your artistic talent, Arnold. Yeah, here's a final one.
That one day, Henry will be able to duplicate this master brain in everyone. It's brilliant. Take a look at it while I prepare for the transference from the clay model to Arnold's brain.
It sure is fine looking, this master brain.
Yes. Now, we're ready to go? Now, Henry, when I close this switch, the new brain shape will flash the signal to the cap on Arnold's head. The electronic fingers will dig in, and he'll have a new brain. Oh, I tell you, Henry, this is the real moment of birth. Most people are born wrong for this world. This is where they get right. All right, here we go. It's going to hurt a little. Well, Henry, we did it. We created a useful citizen.
Well, 6 months went by, and it looked as if Doc was right. Arnold took a job, settled down, and got himself married, and then...
Henry, have you seen that picture exhibition up at the town hall?
Picture exhibition? No, Doc. What's it about?
Arnold, Vivian, the sneak pictures of me, holding me up to ridicule. I'll be the laughing stock of this town. You've got to stop it.
Well, there's nothing illegal about pictures, Doc, but come on, let's take a look. We went to the town hall, and there was the neatest collection of pictures you ever saw. Arnold had painted Doc Royden more than 50 times, and in each picture he cut the basic evil of the man. Doc was shown at the council meeting, at church, at the dance, his face revealing every grimace of deceit, power, lust, conniving. Every picture was titled The Happiness Effect, and everyone was marked sold already. I knew then and there that Doc Royden was finished in Benton.
Henry, please, I'm too old to start over in another town. I've got to stay in Benton. Please, Henry, get rid of those pictures.
Why, Doc, it sounds to me like you're maladjusted to your environment. You ought to be brain-ridden with a happiness effect.
Henry, man, I've been looking all over for you. I wanted to tell you thanks for using Doc's scalpel to save a piece of my talent.
Why, it was a pleasure, Arnold. Thanks to you for giving us back a little human dignity.
A lot of people tend to think that happiness is something you have. But I think it isn't. I think it's more in the nature of something you do. You know, the founders of our country were no fools. And in the Declaration of Independence, they said that men had certain inalienable rights, among which were the pursuit of happiness. No man has ever declared that happiness itself is a right of man. The pursuit of happiness is. It's worth working for.
Join us for a fascinating adventure in Exploring Tomorrow. Heard in our cast tonight were Mason Adams, Charlie Holmes, and Lawson Zerbe. Script was taken from a story by Raymond Banks. Produced and directed by Sanford Marshall here in New York. Bill Maher speaking.
We pause now for station identification.
Presenting the transcription feature, Superman. The sky! Look! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's Superman!
And now, Superman, champion of the weak and the oppressed, who came to Earth from the planet Krypton, possessed of physical powers far beyond those of mortal men, and who fights a never-ending battle against crime and injustice, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for the Daily Planet, a great metropolitan newspaper. As you remember, Kent and Lois Lane were faced with solving the baffling mystery of the disappearance of a special armored freight car bearing $5 million in gold to the Metropolis Bank. Kent, as Superman, flew along the route traveled by the freight car, but found no clues, nothing but a large emerald that had apparently fallen out of someone's ring. Meanwhile, danger threatens Lois at the railroad terminal in Metropolis. As our story opens today, two tough characters who have been watching her as she questioned various railroad employees are plotting serious harm. Listen.
Hey, Mystery.
Oh, there you are, Crumb. Did you telephone the boss?
Yeah, he says to get rid of those two reporters who've been asking questions of everybody.
Gee, Crumb, I don't know. I don't see why we have to kill anybody just because they're asking questions.
Well, the boss thinks people who ask too many questions now may find out some embarrassing answers later on.
Oh.
He believes in getting rid of them right away.
Uh-huh.
Hey, I just see the girl. What happened to the fellow who was with her?
I lost him in the crowd, Crumb. We can pick him up later. What's she going to do with the girl?
Well, I figured that out on my way over here.
Yeah?
Now, this is what we'll do. The 941 is due in on track 6 in just a few minutes.
Uh-huh.
Now, I'll manage to get the girl over to the platform at track 6. We'll stand there talking. You come up behind us. And just as the 941 comes in, you shove her in front of it. Get me?
Yeah, I get you. When the 941 comes in, I shove her in front of it.
Yeah.
You haven't told me much I don't already know.
Yeah, perhaps you'd better tell me all you do know, miss. Then maybe I can tell you a few things you don't know.
Well, I know that a freight car, specially armored and carrying 5 guards, vanished mysteriously on the way here from Bolton.
Yeah, I know that.
The car was carrying $5 million in gold to the Metropolis National Bank. Now, although that freight car was still attached to the train at Bolton, when the train arrived here this morning, the car had completely disappeared. What amazes me is... Oh, here comes the 941 now. Say, don't you think we're standing a little too close to the edge of the platform? We'd better step back.
Oh, no, I don't think we're too close.
Well, I think we'd better step back anyway. It always frightens me a little to be too close.
As the 941 puffs its way into the station on track 6, the man called Lifty edges closer and closer to Lois, waiting for the right moment to push her in front of the oncoming locomotive. Meanwhile, Clark Kent, returned from Bolton, enters the terminal and begins to look for Lois.
I wonder where Lois can be. She must still be here in the station because I haven't been gone long. Oh, there she is at the other end of this platform talking to some man. I'd better go down and... Oh, wait. There's a man coming up behind her. Something funny about him. I wonder... He's pushed her onto the track in front of this train.
This is a job for Superman. I'll grab the last car and hold the train back. Here now. There, that does it. The platform hides me completely.
with my feet dug into the railroad ties. I can hold this train back as long as necessary. The engineer has applied the brake. My work is done.
You're all right?
Yeah, just froze a little. Anybody get the guy who pushed her?
Oh, happened so quickly, no one had a chance to grab him. He got away in the crowd.
Well, I'll say one thing. She's lucky to be alive. How the engineer brought that train to a stop so quickly is beyond me. Yes, sir. It was all...
And so, once again, unknown to Lois Lane, Clark Kent, as Superman, is the instrument of saving her from death. Later in the day, when Lois has recovered from the shock of her experience, she and Kent are sent by Editor White to the Metropolis National Bank, there to cover the story of a meeting between Inspector Neely of the police and Reginald Van Doren, president of the bank. Listen.
You make yourself comfortable. Mr. Kent, you may sit here. Miss Lane over there. Inspector over here.
Thank you.
Inspector, you can well realize this has been the most harrowing day of my life. That freight car is not found and the $5 million recovered, this bank may have to close its doors.
Well, the bank has reserves, hasn't it, Mr. Van Doren?
Oh, yes, Mr. Kent. We have another $2 million. Last resort, I may have to have that brought on here to cover my deposit.
Mr. Van Doren, would you mind giving me all the details as to that gold shipment? The number of gold bricks, the numbers on them, and all the rest of it?
Glad to, Inspector. My secretary, Mr. Fortune, has those figures.
Fine.
Yes, Mr. Van Doren?
Fortune, bring in the figures on the gold shipment, please.
Certainly, sir.
Why, that's an odd name, Mr. Fortune. Quite appropriate for the secretary of a bank.
Yes, Fortune's been with me many years. Invaluable man. As a matter of fact, I presented him not long ago with a sort of token of the bank's esteem and gratitude for his years of service.
Oh, did you?
Yes, a rather unusual ring containing one of the largest emeralds I've ever seen.
A large emerald?
Yes. You seem interested, Mr. Kent. I'll ask Fortune to show it to you. Here he is now.
The figures you wanted, Mr. Van Doren.
Thank you. Fortune, I see you're not wearing your ring. One the bank gave you some time ago.
No, sir,
Mr. Kent here wanted to see it. He's interested in precious stones. Do you have it with you?
No, sir, I haven't.
You usually wear it all the time. What is it?
Mr. Van Doren, I was hoping I wouldn't have to tell you. The truth is, sir, I've lost the emerald.
You what?
Yes, sir. Must have worked loose in the ring and fallen out. And I'm going to put an ad in the paper, sir.
I don't think that will be necessary, Mr. Fortune.
What's that, sir?
This must be the emerald you lost.
Why? Where did you get that beautiful emerald?
I picked it up at the railroad terminal this morning. You must have been down at the terminal, Fortune.
Yes, I was.
Are you sure of that, Fortune? I thought you told me you'd spent the morning here at the office.
Well, I did, except for a short time. I went down to see the shipment come in. Mr. Kent, I don't know how to thank you.
Oh, glad to be able to return it to you.
You're sure you found it at the terminal, Mr. Kent?
Could you have lost it anywhere else?
Why, no, I don't think it. You asked that question in a sort of peculiar way, Mr. Kent.
Not at all, Mr. Fortune. I just thought I'd ask. You see, it's a reporter's job to ask questions. And funny thing, he usually gets the right answer.
Yes? Who is it? It's me, Leslie Fortune. Oh. I've got to talk to the boss right away.
Okay, come in. I'll take you right up. What's wrong?
I think someone's onto me. A reporter named Clark Kent.
Kent? That guy again?
You know him?
Yeah. Me and Crum is down at the terminal this morning. We decide Kent and the dame that's with him are asking too many questions. So we make up our minds to bump them off. Well, we pushed the dame in front of a train. And all of a sudden, the whole train stopped like somebody was holding it back. It was amazing.
The engineer must have applied his brakes hard. What about the man, Kent?
Well, that's funny, Fortune. He never even showed up. Well, come on, let's go in. I'll signal the boss if you want to talk to him.
Yes?
Fortune is here, boss. He wants to talk to you.
Fortune, I'm glad you've come. I wanted to compliment you on today's work. Had it not been for the information with which you supplied us, we could never have succeeded today in making that freight car vanish.
I still don't know how you did it. But that isn't what I've come to talk about.
Oh?
You remember that emerald ring of mine?
Very well.
Well, I lost the emerald out of it. I had a feeling I lost it the other day when I was doing that job you wanted done out along the railroad track.
Between here and Bolton, yes.
Well, a certain reporter named Clark Kent produced the emerald today in Van Doren's office. He said he found it in the railroad terminal. But I know he didn't because I haven't been near the terminal.
And using Kent's suspicion, eh?
Yeah.
Very well. We must rid ourselves of Mr. Kent. Watch him and the girl closely. The moment you find them in a place where they intend to remain for, let us say, half an hour or more, let me know immediately. I shall see that they are taken care of.
Okay, boss. Hello, boss. This is Fortune. Listen, I've trailed Kent and Lois Lane to Sorrento's restaurant. I'm calling from it now. They're going to have dinner here, and it looks as if they'll be here for at least an hour.
Good work, Fortune. I'll take care of everything from here on.
And what are you going to do?
10 seconds, Fortune. 10 seconds after those two leave the restaurant, our troubles will be over.
But what are you going to do then? Enough on you. 10 seconds, he said. 10 seconds after they leave the restaurant. And I'll just hang around and see what happens.
Seriously, Clark, I don't see why you can't leave this entire mystery to the police. You're not a detective, you know.
Well, you don't have to keep throwing it up to me, Lois. No harm trying to solve the darn thing. Are you finished?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then what do you say to taking in a movie, huh?
Oh, that's a swell idea. Take our minds off disappearing freight cars and such anyway.
Okay, then let's go. I'll pay the check and be right with you. Waiter.
They're leaving now. 10 seconds after they step through that door to the street, it'll be all over. 10 seconds, and Mr. Kent will never bother us again.
Well, you all set, Lois?
Oh, wait a minute. Quite a gale blowing outside. I'd better wear this fur piece instead of carrying it.
All right. Here, let me help you. There.
Thank you.
All right, let's go. Taxi, sir? Taxi? No, thanks. We'll walk.
10 seconds.
Yes, 10 seconds, the boss said. 10 seconds after Lois and Clark reach the street. What has the boss in store for our friends? What will happen within the next 10 seconds? And by the way, have you solved the mystery of the vanished freight car? Then be sure to hear the next episode of our story with Superman.
And remember, tune in the next thrilling installment of the transcription feature, Superman.
Up in the sky. Look! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's Superman!
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine. Presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Sky! Look! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's Superman!
And now, Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth possessed of physical powers far beyond those of ordinary humans, and who fights a never-ending battle against crime and oppression, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper. As you remember, Lois Lane and Kent, assigned to cover the arrival of a specially built armored car bearing $5 million in gold, ran into a baffling mystery when it was discovered that the car had disappeared, apparently vanished into thin air before it reached Metropolis. When Kent, playing a hunch, discovered that a bank employee had engineered the scheme with a character known only as the boss, a plot was laid to get rid of Clark and Lois. The boss arranged for something to happen to the two reporters within 10 seconds after they left the restaurant in which he learned they were eating. We join them now. Kent and Lois, unaware of the danger that threatens them, are about to walk out of the restaurant. And remember, whatever is to happen to them will happen in 10 seconds. 10 seconds from now. Listen.
Oh, it'll be good to walk on a brisk night like this.
Yeah. You know, Clark, the more I think about that freight car vanishing along with $5 million in gold, well, the more confused I become.
Confused is hardly the word.
How a specially armored car with a crew of men inside it could possibly disappear without a trace?
Look out! That truck blowing! Quick, look out! You all right, Lois? second, there would have been curtains.
All right, get back. What's happened here?
This truck crashed in off the street, officer. It almost killed this young lady and myself.
Oh, it did, eh? Ruined the front of this restaurant, too. Hey, you! You the driver of this truck?
Yeah, that's right, officer. I can explain all this if you'll just give me a chance.
Go ahead, I'm waiting.
Well, I think the steering shaft broke.
Oh?
I turned the wheel to go around this corner and nothing happened. Next thing I knew, I was heading out of the sidewalk, and there was nothing I could do. I stopped you from putting on your brakes. Oh, I suppose I could have done that, but I was so excited, I just didn't think.
I'll say you didn't. Clark, where are you going?
I'll be back in a minute. Honest, officer, it wasn't my fault.
No.
My company will pay for the glass window I crashed into.
Let me see your license and your registration while you're about it.
Oh, sure. Sure, here you are.
Here, now, let's see. Michael, Hey, you! What are you doing up in the seat of that truck?
I just wanted to see what really had gone wrong with this truck, officer.
Well, the law will take care of that. Now get down out of there. Come on, get down.
Okay.
There now. Well, let's have a look at this license again.
Well, officer, honest, you can't blame me. I couldn't do it.
Maybe not, and then again, maybe you could. Anyways, I'll have to give you a summons. You can explain it all to the judge in the morning. Now, come on.
Come on, Lois. Let's get out of here. I don't want to be held as a witness.
Gracious, Clark. You're stronger than I thought you were.
Huh?
When you pulled me out of the way of that truck, your grip felt like steel.
Oh, you just imagine that in the excitement of the moment.
I guess you're right. Heavens, we're lucky to come out of this accident alive.
That was no accident, Lois.
What?
I got up into the seat of that truck to find out whether or not that steering gear actually was broken. It wasn't.
You mean the steering gear was all right?
Of course it was. I've never yet heard of the steering gear of a truck breaking without being subjected to some unusual strain. They don't make them that way.
Then that was an attempt on our lives.
Exactly. Now I know why our friend Fortune, Secretary to Van Doren of the Metropolis National Bank, was following us tonight.
Fortune was following us?
Yes, I didn't say anything because I didn't want to upset you. Fortune must have been keeping an eye on us, Lois. The minute we entered Sorrento's restaurant, he relayed word of our presence there to someone else.
Yes, but who?
Well, that I can't tell yet. When we do find out who it was, we'll have the solution to this whole mystery.
But, Clark, why didn't you tell that cop back there that the steering wheel was all right? Why didn't you have the truck driver arrested?
Oh, it wouldn't have done any good. The truck driver is merely a tool, and I don't think he'd talk. Now, Fortune...
What about Fortune?
Well, Fortune is our answer to this entire problem, Lois. I think you'll agree that he must be mixed up in this mess somewhere.
There's no doubt of it.
All right, then. The thing to do is get hold of Fortune and force him to talk. He can lead us to the real head, the real brain behind this mystery. Why, I'll bet anything that once we get Fortune to talk, we'll find the answers to how that freight car disappeared, where it disappeared, and where the $5 million is now located.
Sounds reasonable enough. Now, how do we get hold of Fortune?
Well, only through the bank, I'm afraid. And that's closed now. We'll have to wait till tomorrow morning.
And then what?
Then we'll pay a call on Mr. Van Doren, president of the bank, explain to him our suspicions about Fortune, and then put Fortune on the pan.
And you think you can make Mr. Fortune talk?
No, but I imagine Mr. Van Doren can.
I knew it couldn't be true.
True? What are you talking about, Lois?
I thought for a moment you were beginning to develop some backbone. Sorry, my mistake.
A few hours later, in the hideout of the boss, matters begin to take another turn. Listen.
This is Lisby, boss. Can you hear me?
Yes, Lisby, did you get the truck driver?
Yes, I got him all right. The boys have him outside.
Tell them to bring him in.
Okay. Bring him in, boys.
Honest, it wasn't my fault. I did my best, but that guy Clark Kent saw me coming.
Shut up. All right, boss.
You who drove the truck. Your name is Michael, is it not?
Yeah, that's right, boss. Honest, it wasn't my fault, boss. Lisby here told me exactly what you wanted done, and I did.
Please. You must forgive me, Michael, but I am not interested in excuses. The men who work for me must be thoroughly efficient. When I give an order, I must be able to feel that order will be carried out to the letter. I can no longer depend on you, Michael, and so must leave our happy little family.
You're firing me?
Yes, Michael, you're fired.
I know what that means. It don't just mean I can walk through that door and then I'm through it. It means when I leave here, you men will follow me. Lisby and a crumb and them other guys, and when I get far enough away from here, they'll...
The man babbles. Take him away.
You can't do this to me, do you hear? It ain't gonna happen to me what happened to them other guys you fired.
Come on, pal.
They find them guys with a bullet through their head.
It's all right, boss. The boys will take care of him.
Good. Lisby, the failure of that truck driver to complete his job puts us in a far more difficult spot than we were in before. Clark Kent may have had suspicions before, but he'll be sure now. Kent now knows definitely that Fortune is implicated in the vanishing of that freight train.
Well, then it looks like we've got to get rid of Kent and do a good job this time.
No, that isn't quite necessary.
Well, what do you mean, boss? If we don't get rid of Kent, he's liable to make trouble.
Possibly. However, there's one other way of accomplishing our design, and it's this. Suppose instead of getting rid of Kent, we simply...
Mr. Van Doren will see you in a moment. Oh, thanks, sir.
Well, the more I think of it, the more I wonder if we're doing the right thing.
What do you mean, Lois?
Well, I'm beginning to wonder if we're right about Mr. Fortune. Somehow he doesn't seem like the sort of person who...
Lois, I don't suspect Fortune only because I know he was following us last night. There's that business of the emerald I found, the emerald he dropped from his ring.
Well, what's wrong with that? Anyone's likely to lose the stone out of the ring, and there's nothing unusual when you're picking it up in the railroad terminal. Well, did you pick it up in the terminal? Better come clean, Mr. Kent. Where did you find that emerald?
Well, to be frank about it, Lois, I found it lying near the railroad tracks between here and Bolton, about 5 miles out of town.
5 miles out of town?
Uh-huh.
What were you doing out there, and how'd you get out there?
I borrowed a hand car. You know, one of those cars workmen use to inspect the tracks.
You sure of that?
Of course I'm sure. Why?
I don't know. Sometimes I get a funny feeling that, well, if you're not telling me everything. Oh, well, never mind. Why didn't you say you found the emerald on the tracks 5 miles out of town?
I didn't want to arouse Fortune's suspicions. It looks as if I did.
Will you come in, please, now?
Oh, thank you. Lois?
Thank you, Clark.
Come in, Miss Lane, Mr. Kent.
Good morning.
Sit down, won't you?
Thanks.
I suppose you're interested in finding out for your paper whether or not we've made any progress in locating the missing freight car.
Progress has been made, Mr. Van Doren, or at least we think it has.
Really?
Mr. Van Doren, we're inclined to think your secretary, Mr. Fortune, has had something to do with the disappearance of that freight car.
My secretary, Mr. Fortune? Are you out of your mind, young man?
I don't think so, sir. You remember that emerald I returned to Mr. Fortune yesterday?
Of course I remember.
Well, I didn't find that emerald in the railroad terminal, as I said. I really found it on the tracks between here and Bolton.
Oh, what of it? Wait a minute. I think I begin to see what you're driving at.
Another thing. Mr. Fortune followed Miss Lane and me to a restaurant last night. When we left the restaurant, we narrowly escaped being killed by a truck. It wasn't an accident. We're sure it was an attempt on our lives.
Well, by all that... Young man, you may be right. It certainly appears that Fortune had some knowledge of what's been going on. In any case, we'll question him. He's in the next office. I'll get him. George, I'd known about this before. Fortune, come over here at once, please. Fortune.
Anything wrong, sir?
How's it? No, he was in this office. I saw him come in, but he's certainly not here now.
Maybe he stepped out for a minute.
He couldn't have stepped out without my seeing him. The only door to this room leads into my office. The window. The only way he'd get out is by going through my office.
You sure?
Well, look at the office yourself.
Mr. Van Doren's right, Clark. Fortune's office doesn't have a window, and there's no way out except through Mr. Van Doren's own office.
But if he didn't come through your office and he couldn't get out any other way...
Don't tell me he's vanished like the freight car. We will need a Superman to solve this thing now.
Just what I was thinking.
This is... Why, it's fantastic. First, my freight car carrying $5 million in gold vanishes into thin air, and now my secretary does the same thing.
Oh, you must be mistaken, Mr. Van Doren. Fortune couldn't have
I
been...
tell you he was there. He couldn't have left without my seeing him.
Did you leave your office any time?
I haven't left this office once.
Well, then I certainly don't see...
Who? Oh, it's you, Miss Bailey. Well, what do you want? Bailey, what's happened? Why do you look at me so strange?
Happy, somebody. She's going to faint.
I got her. She's fainted, all right. Well, things certainly are beginning to happen around here.
Yes, they certainly are. What is the solution to the strange disappearance of Mr. Fortune? How could he possibly have gotten out of that room without Van Doren seeing him? And what about the vanished freight car? Have you solved that mystery? And say, what could have happened to make Miss Bailey faint just as she reached Van Doren's office? Be sure to listen to the next episode of this thrill-packed story with Superman.
And remember, tune in the next thrilling installment of the transcription feature, Superman. Up in the sky. Look! It's a plane! It's a plane! It's Superman! Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. Escape, brought to you by your Richfield gasoline dealer and the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York, marketers of Richfield gasolines, motor oils, and other petroleum products. Look for the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps.
Tonight, we escape to the prairie west of the Platte River and to the Indian fighting U.S. cavalry of the Old West, as James Warner Bella describes it in his exciting tale, Command.
Brittle, sir.
Yes, Sergeant.
Here comes Lieutenant Cohill back with the patrol.
Yes, I see him. Halt the column.
Yes, sir. Helm! 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 Helm!
Hand me my field glasses, Sergeant.
Yes, sir. Here you are, sir.
Thank you.
Captain Brittles.
Well, Mr. Cohill.
Here's the best body of grass, sir. This slope with the small run below for water. This is the best bivouac for tonight.
Mr. Cohill, do you see the rise there to the left behind you across the valley?
Yes, sir.
What are those shapes lying on that slope?
A small herd of buffalo. Sleeping, it seems. We didn't go that far, sir. We turned back when we saw them.
The wind has shifted a bit. Take a deep breath, Mr. Cohill.
Yes, sir.
Smell anything?
No, sir.
Take another deep breath, Mr. Cohill. Get it in your nostrils and tell me if what you smell is sleeping buffalo.
No, sir. It smells like dead men.
And not freshly killed.
Lieutenant Gresham and his squad, sir?
I imagine so. The men we've come to find. We'll make sure after nightfall. Mr. Cohill, there are several fairly obvious differences between the Great Plains and a classroom at West Point. There you can fail and try again. Here you may not have that chance. There they taught you, I am sure, that accuracy in observation is a military virtue. I suggest that you cultivate it here. Sergeant Utterback.
Yes, sir.
This is the bivouac. Dismount and unsaddle. Night grazing area between the crest of this hill and the creek bottom. Use the picket rope, no individual pins.
Yes, sir. Yes! Up! Yes! Up! Yes! Now!
Yes, sir, Captain Brittles. No, sir, Captain Brittles. Of all the officers in the United States Cavalry, why did they have to assign me to him? A handbook soldier, overage and grade. A bitter failure of a soldier, marking time out here on the plains until he retires, taking up space in the table of organization, standing in the way of younger and more aggressive and, yes, more capable officers. My father wouldn't be guessing. Father would be over yonder right now to see if those corpses are really Gresham and his men. Father would have made sure instead of losing time making camp. The broken rattle Sergeant Utterback had found at noon showed clearly. Sir, that broken rattle the sergeant found.
Yes, Mr. Cohill?
What, we crossed the trace of that Sioux war party at noon today?
That could have been the trail of a Cheyenne war party. Or Comanches or Apaches. They all make rattles like that from the ends of buffalo toes.
But if they were Sioux, they couldn't be more than 30 miles to the north in the Deadlands. They're afraid of ambush, so they'd be camping away from timber and near water. 2 hours rest and we can be at the upper reaches of the river by dawn, sir, ahead of them.
Mr. Cohill, I have no orders to be anywhere by dawn or any other time. My orders are to find Mr. Gresham's patrol and, having found it, return to Fort Stark and report it. I think I've found him. I'll know as soon as the moon rises and I go over and take a look. Water the mounts in half an hour.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Cohill!
Sir?
Reading minds is an uncomfortable habit, but one I have never been able to lose.
Yes, sir.
Look at the other side of it. Suppose that war party was Cheyenne, which they might be instead of Sioux. They wouldn't be in the Deadlands. Cheyennes would head for timber along the lower Mesa Roja. So would Arapahoes, Kiowas, or Comanches. They'd all bivouac in the open timber. And, Mr. Cohill, they all make rattles out of buffalo toes.
Yes, sir.
Pass the word to Sergeant Utterback that dinner will be at 6:30, but the bugler will not sound calls.
Yes, sir.
And, Mr. Cohill.
Yes, sir.
There is no shortcut to the top of the glory heap. So we'll not run all over the West tonight looking for one.
But if death in battle is a soldier's path to glory, Mr. Gresham and his patrol had found a shortcut. Yet what we looked upon that night on yonder slope was not glorious.
Well, at least they respected them as fighting men.
How's that, Sergeant?
Every one of them skinned bald-headed so he can cross the shadow waters without trouble. And whoever did it don't want to fight him again.
Why?
Hands and feet cut off, that's why, sir. To cripple them in case they meet in the hereafter.
Sergeant?
Yes, sir?
Do you still think the Sioux did this?
No, sir. Not now, sir.
Why not?
Sir, I made the march from Bent's Fort to Santa Fe with Steve Carney, and I know an Apache arrow when I see one, sir. Even 1,000 miles from where they're made.
Yes, but that Sioux trail we crossed this morning, that war party could have brushed with an Apache war party and come by Apache arrows that way.
No, sir. No, sir, this job is 2 days old, sir. It wasn't that Sioux war party. This is Apache work.
How do you figure that?
Mostly because the captain knows it's Apache work, too, sir.
Lieutenant Cohill.
Sir?
Take the grave detail.
Yes, sir.
Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
We shall move the company out at 10 tonight.
Yes, sir.
We will return to Fort Stark to report this massacre as fast as we can.
Yes, sir.
So he's showing me. Makes his lieutenant first gravedigger and confides his plans to the sergeant in exchange for flattery. He's an old woman in blue fatigues. Can't hide his bad temper. And worse, he's a frightened old woman. Instead of striking when he has the advantage, he's going to cut and run. In a stiff action, I'd probably have to shoot him and take over the command. A grave doesn't take long to dig in the soft black earth of the plains. And the rocks were nearby to pile upon the still mounds against the hungry muzzles of wolves and coyotes. And after, the air was sweeter in the cold moonlight. And the job done in plenty of time for Captain Brittle's scheduled retreat.
The commander's prepared to mount, sir.
Very good, Sergeant.
Captain Brittle.
Yes, Mr. Cohill.
Excuse me, sir, but can't we go after the Indians who did this? Can't we try to...
Mr. Cohill, the United States Cavalry is not out here to fight Indians. We're here to watch them and report on them for the Indian Bureau. We fight only if they attack us. I refer you to the standing orders of the Department of the Platte. They are most explicit on this point.
Yes, I know, sir, but Mr. Gresham was attacked.
How do you know that?
Well, I don't, for sure.
Of course you don't.
But he's dead, and his command, dead and mutilated, and we ought to...
Go to what? Avenge him? Disabuse yourself of classroom valor, Mr. Cohill. Out here, we obey orders. Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
Pass the word to mount.
Yes, sir. Uptight.
You.
Pass the word. Mount.
Pass the word. Mount. Pass the word. Mount. Pass the word.
30 miles already that day, and who knows how many miles ahead of us tonight. The men are tired. The horses are tired. Cavalry is a delicate arm of the service, Captain Brittles. Hour after hour, as the moon threw our lengthening shadows ahead of us. Hour after hour. Walk 30 minutes, trot 5 minutes, dismount and lead 10 minutes, unbit and graze 15 minutes, every hour. Hour after hour.
Got a chaw eat and tobacco, Middendorf?
Ain't got much.
Well, give me a loan of some. You can get some more at the fort tomorrow.
Yeah. Why don't you ever have any of your own?
Don't approve of chawing tobacco. My ma don't, that is. Thanks.
God free mighty. Mexico wasn't like this.
Do tell.
No, sir. When I was with Winfield Scott, the time we took Chapultepec...
Hey, Middendorf. Chavez back in the Mexican campaign again.
Pity he didn't stay there.
Yeah. Just the same, the army was army in them days. You slept in tents, and when you took a town, there was girls, senoritas, not squaws.
Well, if you like us so darn much, why don't you go back with those girls?
'Cause I was gold brick.
You was what?
Gold Brick.
Oh.
I joined up again because they said they'd be fighting out here. Only fighting I seen west of the Missouris on Saturday nights in the Berry. Boy, sure ain't like hell.
Sergeant Utterback.
Yes, sir?
I'd like to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
How did you know the captain thought they were Apaches that killed Mr. Gresham's detail?
Well, I've been his first sergeant for a long time, sir. You get to know.
I see. Do I get to know?
This is a different kind of service out here, sir. It ain't full-dress war, but it's the only kind the captain and I ever served in, sir. And you get to know it just like you get to know siege operations or saber charge by company front after you've had enough of them.
I see. Five hours on the way now. Less than 3 hours till dawn. And we're at the North Fork of the Platte, in a full 25 minutes for watering call. Some of the men lie sleeping where they've dismounted. Others huddled together in the moon shadow of the high bank, quietly talking.
She left me standing there like a bound boy at a husking.
What'd you do then?
Wasn't nothing to do, except join the army.
That little senorita in Mexico City. Time I was with Scott when we took Mexico. Well, she wasn't at all like that. Not at all.
Any of you boys ever ate a lobster?
Not me. I never even seen one.
I had a catfish once. Didn't like it.
I could sure put away a lobster right now. Fresh out of the lobster pot and into the cooking pot.
Alive? Sure.
That's the only way to cook a lobster. Sure wish I was back in Wiscasset.
Get you back in the state of Maine, you'll be pining away for buffalo meat.
Truer word was never spoken. Some people ain't never satisfied.
I ain't never satisfied for a fact. That's how you get someplace in this world. Never be satisfied.
Sure got you a long way, didn't it?
Looks like you can plan on getting even further, Sarver. Captain's getting fidgety again.
Oh, yeah. Another day, another dollar.
All right, men. All right, fall in and be quiet. Prepare to mount. Pass the word.
Prepare to mount. Pass the word.
Prepare to mount. Pass it. Prepare to mount. Mount. Route step. Forward.
Route step. Forward.
Route step. Forward. March.
Go.
Go. He's heading north.
How's that, Sergeant?
North, sir. Captain's heading north.
You're right, Sergeant. Red Mesa should be to our left. Instead, it's dead ahead. Doesn't make any sense, Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
My father would have done things differently. In the cold, dying moonlight, I could imagine him. Young Major Cohill riding out of St. Joe to convoy the wagon trains bound west on the Oregon Trail. What a figure he must have been out here in the old days when the Missouri River itself was the jumping-off place. Killer Cohill, as men had called him. But the wide-roaming Arapahoes had another name for him. Blue Devil with eyes in the back of his head. By this time, Father would have cut those Apaches into coyote meat as they lay sleeping around their smoldering campfire.
Mr. Cohill. Mr. Cohill, sir.
Yes, Sergeant?
Were you dozing, sir?
No, of course not. I was just thinking.
Captain Biddles wants you at the head of the column, sir.
Thank you, Sergeant. Sergeant Utterback said you wanted me, sir.
Yes, Mr. Cohill, I do. This is officer's call. Listen carefully. I have Sergeant Sutro ahead of me with the point. You will relieve him with 8 men and push forward fast.
Yes, sir.
Do you recall the ford across Red Mesa Wash?
Yes, sir. We crossed it yesterday.
Exactly. There is a knoll on the east side of the wash. A knoll that is crossed by the trail from the top of the mesa.
I remember, sir.
Be on that knoll before dawn. Build a bivouac fire as soon as you arrive.
Do what, sir?
Build a fire. I want to know when you get there.
But I can send a messenger back to tell you when I arrive.
I want everyone else for miles around to know it, too. Build a bivouac fire, a squad fire. No larger.
Yes, sir.
Should you happen to be attacked, you are to hold that knoll, fighting on foot. Remember, the dawn light can work for you, but it can also fool you in this country. So don't shoot until the last possible moment.
But I don't understand.
You don't have to. You have your orders.
Yes.
Move out, Mr. Cohill. You're the bait on my hook. Wriggle.
It's new. It's free. Don't miss it. Don't miss this free offer by your Richfield gasoline dealer. It's the new Richfield baseball book. 32 pages jammed with fascinating facts about America's #1 sport. And it's yours for the asking at your Richfield gasoline dealer station. This new Richfield baseball book is the most interesting book of its kind ever published. Listen to this. The Richfield baseball book shows you seating diagrams of leading stadiums. It has a special baseball quiz you can try on your friends. It has a special page on which you can try your skill at picking pennant winners. It has a spring and summer calendar. That's right. The Richfield baseball book has all that, plus Major League schedules, many minor league schedules, and World Series box scores. So be sure to get your free copy tomorrow while the supply lasts. Drive in where you see the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps. Ask your Richfield dealer for your free copy of the new Richfield baseball book. And now we return you to Escape.
You knew Red Mesa was there only because the stars stopped where it stood. The moon was a honey ladle spilling blackness over the edge of the plains. Then the jagged teeth of the Rockies broke it into ragged potsherds. And it was gone. It was dark. Black dark. Cold dark. The squad fire sputtered and took and pushed the night back a little. This was different. This was command. This was the final moment of the soldier's heritage. To stand ready to fire and be fired upon. To kill and be killed. And it wasn't at all like you expected. It just plumb scared you. Don't stand still, Mittendorf. Keep moving a little all the time. And slap those mounts. Keep them moving, too.
Yes, sir.
Lieutenant, sir? How come the captain sent us up here to sashay around on the top of this little old hill?
He said we're the bait of his hook.
Huh?
The decoy. If there's an Indian war party, we're to draw them out. Better put some bacon on to fry, Lusk. Make it look natural.
Yes, sir. Meaning we uns may end up like Mr. Gresham in his patrol?
There's always that possibility.
It ain't a prospect that pleases, sir.
That's what a soldier lives for, Sarver. To die.
He does? Yes, sir.
It was a good performance. To any watching Sioux or Apache, here was a small white soldier war party like the two yesterday's party they'd left lying scalpless in the buffalo grass 30 miles down the valley. Fire lighted, bacon cooking. Horses unsaddled and warriors sleeping from a long night march. Soft for the kill. Only the warriors weren't sleeping. Beyond the yellow carpet of firelight, they lay fanned out behind their saddles, waiting. Sorting the night sounds with straining ears, pushing at the soft wall of darkness with widened eyes.
Wish them dead, burnt coyotes didn't sound so much like human beings.
Well, you can be sure of one thing. No Indian is running around in the middle of the night yelling like a coyote.
Yeah, that sure makes me nervous. Sound like hootie owls back home in Maine.
What's that?
Behind you.
Don't get in a fret, boys. It's only me.
Oh, General Scott's chief of staff.
Oh, something. You're lucky I didn't put a bullet through you.
Nah, you wouldn't do that. Lieutenant said not to fire until commanded.
Any of you fellas ever had Injun pudding?
No.
I ate a sort of bean pudding when I was with old Rough and Ready Zach Taylor at the Battle of Buena Vista. I didn't like it much.
Was you with Napoleon at Waterloo?
Nope, but I've been talking to the lieutenant.
Naturally. What's the word from headquarters?
It's made of cornmeal and molasses.
What?
Injun pudding.
Seen any savages yet?
No, and don't expect to yet.
Why?
There ain't an Indian west of the Missouri who'll come out and fight at night if he can help it.
Yeah, that's right. They're afraid of taking a chance of being killed at night. They believe if a warrior's killed at night, he'll be blind when he gets to the happy hunting grounds.
Well, then what are we worrying about?
Who's worrying?
Not me.
Oh.
And you can start worrying.
Huh?
Dawn's coming. To make out the mesa plainer.
Sure would like some Injun pudding for breakfast.
slowly, the light came. First, you could see the outline of the mesa. Then down below, the silver of the water in the wash. Then the shapes of the men. And out across the plain, the feathers of mist in the draws. If it was to come, it would come now. Hold your fire, men.
Arrows. They're shooting arrows.
What you expect? They're engines.
What was that? Hit one of the horses.
Here they come. Oh, my leg.
Hold your fire. Hold it.
Fire! Cease firing!
They are Apaches.
I got one of the heathen. I got two. Look at him lying yonder.
One of them's still wriggling.
I'll fix that.
Hold your fire!
But I was
They'll
just...
be back. That was only the beginning.
Yes, sir.
You all right, Coffin?
My legs, sir.
Bone shattered. Hurt much?
A little, sir. Those arrows are sure wicked.
Go right through a man if they don't hit bone.
Do tell.
No action in the new army, huh, Sava?
Well, it ain't exactly like your pull pack.
Here they come again. Hold fire.
Light's better this time.
Makes no difference. Hold your fire.
They're the ones that did Mr. Gresham in. Look, that one's wearing a corporal's chevrons, and there's one with a U.S. cavalry saber.
Where's Captain Brittle? That's I want to know.
Most likely having breakfast at the fort. Decoy. We're just... Lord Almighty!
Well, they took care of almost half of them.
They'll be back.
No, they won't. There's Captain Brittle's now.
Attacking from the flank. Hey, Sava, Captain Brittle's got him on the run.
Hey, can you pull this tarnation arrow out of me?
Down below the knoll, the remains of the Apaches were streaking for the open plains with Captain Brittle's men, overtaking them, cutting them down with thirsty sabers and pistoling the ponies as they ran. And then it was quiet, and not an Indian or his pony was left alive. Coffin sat propped up against a saddle, lighting his pipe, his shattered legs stretched naked and useless before him. And Sarva lay where he'd fallen, eyes closed, face blue, his hands around the shaft sunk deep in his left side below the ribs, the feathered tip waving idly with each shallow breath.
Can't we do something for him, sir?
What? Look how deep that arrow is, right under the heart. Can't cut it out, can't pull it through.
Poor Sava. He finally saw action.
Yeah. I can hear him now telling St. Peter about the time he beat the Apaches under Cohill.
That's not very funny.
No, guess you're right, Coffin. How's your leg? Paining you much?
Can't feel anything. Lieutenant?
Yes, Coffin?
Do you think they'll send me back home to get this fixed? You think maybe I'll get to see the state of Maine right soon?
I hope so, Coffin.
Land of Goshen, no, you won't get further than the hospital at Council Bluffs. They'll wire you together, slap a plaster on you, and send you right back to fight Indians.
It was a strange feeling. A mixture of pride and guilt. Watching a man die whom I'd commanded into action. Looking at the shattered leg of another. And a feeling of helplessness, too. For the moment, we could only sit there and wait. Our horses were dead, or stampeded by the action. We were alone on our little hilltop in the hot red glare of the rising sun. And then the company rode back in triumph, and I was reporting to Captain Brittles. And it seemed like months instead of hours since I'd last looked at his tired gray face.
Mr. Cohill, you did that well. You may do in time.
Captain, you knew there were Apaches yesterday at sundown. And you knew they were camped on top of the mesa, didn't you, sir?
Mr. Cohill, accuracy and observation is a military virtue. Had you pushed forward to that slope yesterday afternoon, you would have found Mr. Gresham, not Sleeping Buffalo. Had your eyes been sharp, you would have found this between the slope and last night's bivouac.
An Apache headband.
That's right, and blood-stained. And had you been a plainsman and suspected Apaches, you would have looked at once for smoke at sundown from the highest ground. In this case, Red Mesa.
You had me fooled, sir. I even thought...
The facts for the record are these. My patrol, temporarily bivouacked at dawn today, came under a sudden enemy attack. Fortunately, it was able to hold until I arrived with the main body.
I understand perfectly, sir. I'm familiar with departmental orders which allow defensive actions only and expressly forbid attack.
And yet they are in direct violation of cavalry tactics. The cavalry is extremely weak on the defensive and can only defend well by attacking. I believe that is also taught at West Point.
And I thought you were avoiding an engagement. Captain, I'm terribly sorry.
Mr. Cohill, never apologize. It is a mark of weakness. There is a captain out here who tried it once to escape an inquiry board. He escaped it, but he will die a captain in spite of his apology. The officer who saw to that could have worked with him and made a soldier of him if his humanity had been large enough. Mr. Cohill, I'm going to make a soldier out of you. You may present my respects to General Cohill when next you write your father. Mr. Cohill, take morning stables.
If you drive a car, remember this strange-sounding word, xylene. Xylene is one of the highest octane gasoline components known to science. Today, all Richfield gasoline contains this powerful super-octane component, xylene. With a tank full of Richfield gasoline containing xylene, you've got dynamic power at the tip of your toe. Smooth, knockless power to put you out ahead in traffic. Every gallon of Richfield gasoline contains xylene. But that's not all. There is a Richfield gasoline especially refined to fit the power requirements of your particular car. By Richfield Ethyl. Ethyl at its best for best results in highest compression motors. By Richfield High Octane at regular price for the average motor. Both of these famous Richfield gasolines contain xylene. Get the best out of your car. Get the most for your money. Get Richfield gasoline with xylene. Look for the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps. Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robson, and tonight has presented Command by James Warnabella. Adapted for radio by Mr. Robson. Featured in the cast were Harry Bartell as Lieutenant Cohill, John Hoyt as Captain Brittles, Wally Mayer as Sergeant Utterback, David Ellis as Updike, Paul Frees as Sarver, Walter Burke as Mittendorf, and Hugh Thomas as Coffin. Special music was arranged and played by Ivan Ditmars. Next week.
You're standing in the observation turret of a gigantic rocket ship about to be shot into space on man's first voyage to Mars. In the heavens above you lie the magnificence of the universe, and also terrible dangers from which there is no escape.
Next week at this time, the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York invites you to escape with one of the most unusual of all stories about man's attempt to conquer space, as Ray Bradbury tells it in his exciting tale, Mars is Heaven. Be listening. Goodbye, then, until the same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. Tom Hanlon speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Nestle's Ever-Ready, the instant cocoa. Nestle's Quick for great chocolate milk. And Nestle's chocolate bars now present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed Space Patrol adventure, Buzz and Happy have landed on a distant planet to help 500 enslaved workers escape from a mine. Happy waits in the grounded ship while Buzz walks toward the robot-guarded mine shaft.
Cadet Happy to Commander Corey.
Go ahead, Happy.
I just picked up something in the viewscope screen. It's one of those robot cargo jobs, and it's heading this way.
Happy, those ships never land anywhere in Gobonic except the city spaceport.
This one's sure barreling in, sir. If it keeps its present trajectory, it'll land right in the mining area.
Land? It's set to crash.
Crash?
It's the Ruger's work. We can't stop that ship. It'll explode and destroy every living person in this area.
We'll return in just a moment with the thrilling story of Frightened Robots.
Space Patrollers, this is Commander Corey. Let me ask you something. When Mom and Dad had their breakfast coffee this morning, did you have a good hot drink? You know, you need a real morning warm-up for all-day power. That's why you should always start the day the Space Patrol way, with a big cup of Nestle's Instant Cocoa. It's just loaded with good hot nourishment for real energy. And Nestle's makes the greatest hot cocoa you've ever tasted. It's rich, it's smooth, it's delicious. It's really out of this universe. And wait till you see how fast and easy it is to fix. And Nestle's Ever Ready is so easy it just about makes itself. Now listen, here's all you do. You just put 1, 2, 3 teaspoons of Nestle's in your cup and add hot water. That's all. Now you're all ready to drink it and get your supply of morning pep. And Nestle's Ever Ready is the complete cocoa, too. You add nothing but water because whole milk and sugar are already in it. You ought to see the lineup around here when they sound the Nestle's call. Everybody goes for that delicious Nestle's chocolate flavor. That goes for me, too. Now, why don't you get the Nestle's Space Patrol habit? Ask Mom to stock your galley with Nestle's and drink it regularly, the way we do. And you'll have power to spare. That's Nestle's Ever Ready Cocoa in the bright red can.
And now, today's Space Patrol adventure, The Frightened Robots. Commander Corey and Cadet Happy are in the Terra 5, high above the surface of the planet Gobonic, a world ruled by robots. They've just blasted off from a forest region where they said goodbye to Mono and Anila, two friends whom the Space Patrollers rescued from enemies in the principal city of the planet. While Buzz is at the controls, Happy idly adjusts the Space Patrol periscope, the amazing hyperspace optical device that can show a close-up view of any part of space.
You see anything interesting, Happy?
There's a train of cars, sir. Probably headed for one of the farming areas outside the city.
Gobonic is a depressing planet. Well, I hate to leave it.
I found a Mono and his friends, you mean?
Yeah. Gobonic won't be free until the robots are overthrown. That might take years.
Sure wish we could do something to help them.
Well, it's not our job to meddle into other people's internal affairs, huh? What we've done was just to save Mono's life. We acted as individuals, not as agents of the United Planets.
Hey, I thought those trains left the city empty.
That's what Mono told us. They brought back full of supplies, and half of them sent to Warmont.
Oh, these cars are open, sir. They're like we'd haul ore in, but well, some of them are full of people.
Well, farm workers, probably.
They're just jammed into those cars. Oh, it's poor people.
I know how you feel, huh? That's something we have no control over. Our job is to explore Warmont for radioactive minerals. Better cut off that periscope before you feel worse than you do now.
Yes, sir. Hey, we've got to give this to Mono when we let him out of the ship.
Oh, look how his robot control unit.
It might come in handy if Mono or any of his friends have to return to the city.
Well, perhaps it's just as well Mono doesn't have it. If he's caught with one of the administrator's robot controls, people think what would happen to him.
Agent 7 at Gobonic City calling ARL Camp 21.
Commander, it's one of our space phones.
Turn up the volume, man.
Agent 7 at Gobonic City calling ARL Camp 21. Come in, please.
ARL Camp, that's an anti-robot league hideout.
ARL Camp 21 here. Go ahead, Agent 7.
That's Mono. Hey, they're operating already. They've distributed our miniature spacephones inside the city.
Warn all the League members not to try to enter the city. Don't even contact us by spacephone. The robots are rounding us up.
We've been betrayed.
No, I don't think so. The roundup isn't very selective. But this morning, 500 workers from all sections were picked out and put aboard a work train. They're on their way to the K-Light mines.
K-Light mines? How did you find out?
The robots broadcast it all over the city. Obviously, it's a disciplinary action.
Of course. K-Light is useless. K-Light dust is harmful to human beings.
When 500 workers are diverted from essential production and sent to the K-Light mines, there's only one explanation.
It's a warning to everybody to stop trying to overthrow the robots.
Exactly. Anyone even suspected of aberrationist tendencies, off they go to the K-Light mines.
We'll suspend all activities for the time being. Be careful. ARL Camp 21 out.
Now we know where those carloads of people are going. To the K-Light mines.
That's criminal. It's cruel punishment. It's completely useless. I wonder just how automatic those robots are.
You think the administrators, like our friend Ropenar, might have more control than they let on?
It's possible. Trouble is, Mono and his friends can't find that out. Only administrators can get near the robot master control.
Our periscope could show us that master control. Or would that be interfering?
Maybe it is. But when robots can send hundreds of innocent people into slavery, I say it's time to interfere.
So do I.
I'll get that map of the city Mona drew for me. Then we'll use the periscope and find out how that robot system operates.
I've got it, sir. There's the central administration building.
Okay, Hap, now we'll scan it floor by floor with the periscope till we find the master robot control section.
Whatever information we find out, we can pass on to Mono.
Well, the lower floor seems to be a headquarters for the robot patrols. Uh-oh. Here's something interesting. There's a shaft right down the center of the building.
Elevator shaft?
It looks like it. I don't see any elevator. Something's happening at the bottom. A robot just entered the shaft at the ground floor level. There's a hall leading to it from the street.
Oh, private entrance for Zards, huh?
Apparently. Yeah. The robot is rising straight up the shaft. Look.
Wow.
8, 10, 15, probably 20 stories up. Now it's stopped in midair. It touched the control on its belt.
Gravity belt.
That's it. Now it's reaching out and pulling itself toward a platform at the side of the shaft. And opening a door.
The robot with a gravity belt. But not even Ropenar had one of those.
Evidently just the robots have them. Now the robot's walking down a corridor. It's opening a door. Cap, look.
Handing something to somebody. Hey, that's Ropenar.
Look, receiving a message from the robot. And by the looks of that room, that's Ropenar's living quarters. Right there in the administration building.
Now the robot's leaving.
Cap, if we had one of those belts, we'd get into the administration center.
And then we could save those people from the K-Light mines.
Yes.
Then they go back to Gobonic?
Right. Got those Gobonic workflows in the ship. Ropenar's robot control unit.
How do we get the gravity belts?
We can find a robot outside the city walls. We'll inactivate him with the control unit. It'll be dark in the city in about an hour. We'll set the ship down a mile or so from the walls.
On one of the top floors of the administration building in Gobonic City, Administrator Ropenar, in charge of Class H functions of patrol robots, has been summoned to the office of Daruga, Chief Administrator of Gobonic.
You realize, of course, that you were the first human being from Gobonic to make a space flight in 300 years. You are now an unknown variable where our computers are concerned. Unknown variables are dangerous to our robot-controlled economy.
I don't understand, Daruga. The space flight hasn't changed. As I explained, I was forced into the ship by these visitors from another solar system.
You, Ropenar, may have been contaminated by your brief exposure to these two strangers from outer space.
Oh, no. They will not trouble us again. It is all forgotten.
The computers will not forget. I had to feed false data into the master computer to arrange this shipment of workers to the K-Light mines. Some sections are now short-handed. That means longer hours, a general speed-up and lower efficiency.
Yes, but there will be no more anti-robot talk among the workers. They're thoroughly frightened.
Fright, Ropenar, is a factor that cannot be measured by the computers. Our robot controls can maintain proper balance only if the human population can be kept calm and placid. Fear and hope of change, these must be kept to the minimum at all times.
Yes, I understand. And I will keep my robot patrols alert for any sign of aberration.
Very well. You may go, Administrator Ropenar.
Thank you, Chief Daruga.
Special Directive 47 to Class G robots. Administrator Ropenar, in charge of Class H functions of robots, is now under surveillance until further notice. Record and report aberrationist behavior. Daruga.
With rockets cut out, the Terra 5 descends to the ground by repel array a mile from the city. Under cover of darkness, Buzz and Happy make their way to the high walls. The plain, drab coveralls of the Gobonic workers cover their space patrol uniforms. At the gate stands a single robot guard.
There's just one of them. He's got a gravity belt.
Maybe we can get another one inside.
I think he sees us now. And they will mobilize him with the control unit.
The robot's frozen, sir.
I'll handle this job alone here. I'll take the robot's gravity belt and enter the city. You stand watching the ship.
Yes, Commander.
There's no trick to moving the robot's gravity. It's a simple button. It really fits me. turn of this knob should lift me to the top of the wall.
Sure wish I were going with you, sir.
I'll keep a miniature spacephone on hand. I'll keep you informed if I have a chance. Here goes.
Hey, it works.
Return to the ship, Happy?
Yes, sir. Good luck, Commander.
From the top of the wall, Commander Corey looks down inside the city. Seeing no one near, he lowers himself to the ground with a gravity belt. With casual gait, but on the alert, Buzz walks through the streets to the administration building, avoiding the curious inspection of robot patrols by pressing a switch on his robot control unit. A walk down a deserted corridor brings him to a tall shaft extending up to the top floor of the building.
Commander Corey, if that happens, can you lead me?
Yes, sir. Everything okay?
I'm falling. I'm at the bottom of the robot shaft. If I can get up the rope now, I'll zoom without being seen. Here goes. This gravity belt's a great thing. I'll try to pick one up for you on the way back to the ship.
Fine, Commander.
I'm on the landing ledge. Don't try to contact me, Hap. Someone might hear the spaceophone. I'm entering the corridor now. Get your hands up, Rupnar.
What do you mean by... Hurry!
Don't try to reach for your robot control. I'd better remove it from your belt. I don't want to use this ray gun on you, so behave yourself.
You've got to get out of here. If you're found in my room,
You'll be sent to the K-Light mine, perhaps. With the other 500 prisoners.
What did you know about that?
You answer my questions first, Rupnar. Do you administrators rule the robots, or do the robots rule you?
I don't understand what you mean.
Just this. Computers juggle a lot of work quotas and pick 500 human slaves to go to the K-Light mine. K-Light is useless. If those people work in the mines very long, they'll get sick. For many of them, it'll be fatal. Isn't that right?
Yes, I suppose so.
All right. Was that K-Light deal automatic, or did somebody prime the computers? I want an answer, Rupnar.
The computers may have been adjusted a little.
And they could also be adjusted to bring those people back.
That's impossible.
I think you can find a way to work it out. Even if you burn out a couple of fuses in the computers, it's better than forcing 500 people to mine poisonous K-Light.
The computers cannot be changed, I tell you.
Now, look, Rupnar. I can do a lot of mischief to your patrol robots. Your push-button police. I can make you look pretty foolish. I can do all this without hurting a single human being, not even an administrator.
You wouldn't wreck my robot.
Unless you bring those people back from the mines, you will be in the junk business. How about it?
I think it can be arranged. If you give me time to talk to the chief administrator. Of course, he must never know.
But he does know.
Daruga!
Both of you stand perfectly still. This weapon in my hand can destroy you both. A move from either of you, and I shall use it.
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment. Say, here comes Tony Sides. Well, I'll be. He's growing a mustache.
Who? Me, Captain Two-Fell? What do you mean?
Oh, you sure have. It's brown and quite a long one, too.
Ah, gee whiz. That's no mustache. That's some Nestle's cocoa. You see, I had a cut just a few minutes ago. Well, I guess I was in such a hurry to drink it, I got some on my upper lip. I'll just lick it off. Gee, that's good.
Yes, that's what everybody says, Tony. You know, Nestle's Eveready makes the best cocoa in the universe. It's so rich, so chocolatey, and so smooth.
You know, since we got the Space Patrol habit at our house, all my brothers and sisters drink Nestle's cocoa for breakfast. We love the way it tastes, and boy, we sure love the pep it gives us. Starting the day with a hot drink is real smart, especially when that drink is Nestle's cocoa.
You said it. And Nestle's Eveready is so easy to fix, it practically makes itself. You just put 1, 2, 3 teaspoons in your cup and add hot water, and that's all there is to it. Milk and sugar are already in Nestle's, so you don't have to add a thing. Gang, how about you? If you haven't tried the Space Patrol way to start the day, don't wait anymore. Chow up for delicious Nestle's cocoa. Ask your mom to get Nestle's in the bright red can. And now back to our Space Patrol adventure, The Frightened Robots. Buzz and Happy are determined to save several hundred inhabitants of the planet Gobonic
who've been forced to mine the poisonous mineral Kalite. While Happy remains in the Terra 5, Buzz undertakes a daring one-man expedition into the city. With the aid of a gravity belt taken from a patrol robot, Buzz rises to the 20th level of the administration building, where he encounters Roknar, an official of the robot-ruled government. Just as Buzz obtains a promise from the unwilling Roknar, the chief administrator, Daruga, suddenly appears and holds Buzz at bay with a powerful weapon.
Drop your weapon. Go on, drop it.
All right.
No, Roknar, don't touch it.
But, Daruga, I was only going to hand it to you.
Indeed. Here I find you in a cozy conference with a worker. A worker who has somehow been smuggled up above the third floor.
But he's not a worker. He's Commander Corey, one of the visitors from another solar system.
So much the worse for you, Roknar. I was right. You have been contaminated by this stranger. I heard you plotting against the robots.
No, Daruga. He forced his way in here. He threatened to destroy the patrol robots unless I agree to bring those workers back from the Kalite mine.
He's telling the truth, Daruga.
Your presence here introduces new factors. Variables with which our computers may be unable to cope.
Then you administrators will have to do some thinking yourselves for a change.
Not if I eliminate the disturbing factor. If I destroy you, now, right here, the robots need never be disturbed with new information.
That's it, Daruga. Get rid of Corey and everything will be just as it was before he... Corey, let go of me!
Hold still, Roknar. Let go of him, Corey. You can't escape. There are Z-type robots out in the corridor.
How about this window behind me?
Beyond it is a straight drop, 20 levels above the street. You see, you are trapped.
Come on, Roknar. You're going through that window.
No, we'll be killed.
Corey, stop or I'll fire.
If you shoot, you destroy Roknar, one of your own administrators.
Corey, have you lost your mind? Keep away from that window.
You're going through it if I have to carry you. So long, Daruga.
Corey,
stop struggling, Roknar. He can drop you. This gravity belt should support both of us.
We're not falling. We're rising into the air.
Hang on, you'll be all right. Commander Corey to Cadet Happy.
Happy here, sir.
Blast off immediately. Pick me up directly over the administration building. If this gravity belt holds up, I'll keep rising.
Yes, sir.
I've got Roknar with me. They might send some robots up after us, so hurry.
Quickly blasting off, Cadet Happy circles back over the city. A tiny dot on the viewscope shows him that he's picked up Buzz and Roknar ascending vertically over the administration building. Cutting the ship's velocity, Happy heads toward the commander, pressing a button on the rocket cockpit panel to open the outer hatch.
Can you come closer, Happy?
Yes, sir.
This gravity belt doesn't give any horizontal motion, Hap, just up and down. You'll have to maneuver the ship so I can reach the open hatch.
Yes, sir. When I get close enough, I'll cut my forward speed with a blast from the nose rocket.
Right, Hap. Got to make it on the first pass. Roknar's boss, Daruga's sending up some robots with gravity belts.
Okay, Commander. Get set.
I'll get this one done. I'll hold on to you, and you concentrate on pulling us into the ship. Yes, Commander.
This is it, Commander.
Now, Roknar. Now. I got it! We're in the airlock, Happy. Kick on the tail rockets. We're losing altitude.
Okay, sir. All right, Roknar, move up forward.
Yes, Commander.
Nice bit of maneuvering, Happy.
Thank you, sir. I got to sit down.
All right, Roknar. I'll watch him, Hap. I'll take over the controls.
Hovering in the air over the city. We might have been killed.
Yeah? At least it would have been quick. Not like working in the Kalite mines.
Well, that reminds me, Happy. I've got to contact Mono. Commander Corey aboard Terra 5, calling ARL Camp number 21. Corey to ARL Camp 21.
ARL Camp 21. Mono here. Go ahead, Commander.
Mono, this is about those men that were sent to the Kalite mines. If they escaped, if they survived, could your camp take care of all 500?
For a time, until we could distribute them around to the other camps. At least they'd be no worse off at the mines.
And spread the word around. You're going to have company.
But, Commander, mines are guarded by robots.
I've got 2 robot control units now, plus a technical advisor, Roknar.
You've captured Roknar again?
Yes, he's here in the ship. If Happy and I deactivate those robot guards, can you lead those 500 men to safety?
If you can hold the robots up until the men reach the forest north of the mines, we'd have a chance.
Good. I'll pick you up at the camp, and then we'll head for the Kalite mines. Corey out.
An hour later, Buzz and Happy have picked up Mono, and now, with the anti-robot leader pointing the way, Buzz heads the Terra 5 toward the Kalite mines.
Mines are in that range of mountains just ahead, Commander.
You set the ship down far enough away to avoid alerting the robots. Then you and I'll approach the mines on foot.
Can I go with you, Commander?
You better stay with the ship, Happy. Keep Roknar locked up back aft. If Mona and I run into any problems, we'll contact you by miniature spacephone.
Yes, sir.
Happy, get Mono a blaster while I set the ship down.
Yes, sir.
Leaving Happy in the ship, Buzz and Mono strike out over the ridge for the mines. As Buzz and Mono descend the slope, a breeze charged with an acrid dust blows toward them from the mines.
There's one of the outer guard, Commander. A robot. It sees us.
Just keep walking toward it until we're in range to work the control unit.
We've got to deactivate the robot before it deactivates us.
But how many robots are here at the mine?
I think about 25. At least half of them are down in the shaft with the miners.
The robot's suspicious. It's coming toward us.
I think we're in range now.
Okay, stop. I'll use the control unit. Still coming. I'll give it another charge. My control unit isn't working. Use yours.
Yes, Commander. Mine doesn't work either. Commander, the robot's reaching for his immobilizer ray.
This blaster's likely to arouse the whole camp, but I've got to use it.
You got it.
Back up the hill quick, before the other robots come to investigate. Duck behind the stick, Mono. Let's see if we're being followed.
There are 2 robots heading this way.
They're not moving very fast. It's curious, I guess.
I wonder why our control units didn't work.
I've got an idea about that. Contact Happy. Corey to Cadet Happy.
Happy here, sir.
We had to use a blaster on the robot guard hat. The Ruger must have changed the response frequencies on the robots. Our control units don't work.
What are we going to do? Pick off the robots one by one with blasters?
Well, we can't risk it. The robots might turn on the workers. Now, listen. Get Rook now and bring him here. Maybe he can give these robots direct orders.
Can we trust him?
You'll have to. Mono and I'll be waiting just over the top of the ridge. All right, Rook, now you can come out now. The commander's got a job for you.
A job? What do you mean?
The commander will explain. Come on, we're going for a walk. Into the airlock, Rookner.
Where are you taking me?
We need an expert on robots, and you're elected. Go on, into the lock.
Of course, Cadet. Anything to oblige. Hey! This is the jet I've been waiting for! There. I'd finish you right now if I were sure I'd escape from Corey. But this will hold you for a while.
What's taking Happy so long? I'll contact him again. Bender Corey to Cadet Happy. Happy, can you read me?
Happy here, sir.
Hap, where are you?
In the ship. Commander, I pulled a boner. Rognar got away. He pulled a sneak punch and knocked me cold. I just came to. I'm awfully sorry, sir.
Now, Hap, listen. Stay on guard in the ship. Mono and I are going to try to get into the mines and lead the workers out. For some reason, most of the robots are leaving the area.
Maybe Rognar got a warning through. No, he hasn't had time to get there. And he doesn't have a control unit. Uh-oh.
What's the matter?
I just picked up something in the viewscope screen. A spaceship.
Spaceship?
Yes, sir. It's one of those robot cargo jobs. And it's headed this way.
Mono, could it be coming to the mines?
That's unheard of. Spaceships are used only to take cargoes to the other planet, Warmark. They never land anywhere on Gabonik except the city spaceport.
Well, this one is sure barreling in, sir. If it keeps its present trajectory, it'll land right in the mining area. Maybe some big-shot administrators are aboard.
Human beings never ride in spaceships. Not here on Gabonik, I mean.
Robots are leaving just as that ship is coming in. Hap, how far away is that ship?
Oh, at its present velocity, it should land in about 5 minutes.
Hey, looks like it's set to crash. It'll probably explode and destroy every living person in this area.
Smoking rockets.
Stand by to blast off, Hap. Mono and I are returning to the ship.
Racing over the rough ground, Buzz and Mono reach the Terra 5. The incoming robot ship is now plainly visible to the naked eye as the commander rushes to the controls.
Stand by for blast off. Close ports. Fire jet.
Fire jet.
Up ship and away. You're right, Commander. That robot ship isn't leveling off. It's headed straight for the mining area.
How are you going to stop it? Those people will be killed.
Just one chance. Destroy it before it gets any closer. Hap, stand by to fire both atom cannons.
Standing by, sir.
When you're on target, fire.
Ship will hit in 15 seconds, sir, unless we blast it first.
I'm on target. Fire.
I hope that shot's good.
You've got it.
Robot ship's gone. Hold that.
Pressure must have been terrific back in the mines. Let's hope it didn't do any damage. We'll circle back and inspect.
Frightening thing. That ship had struck the ground. All those people,
Then DeRuger or some other top administrator must have given the robot the signal to leave the mines. He wanted his valuable robots out of danger.
The administrators say that the master robots are beyond human control.
Yes, that's true.
But DeRuger pulled that ship out of a course that's followed for centuries. It must have changed the master control.
Yes. To destroy 500 helpless innocent people. If it hadn't been for you, Commander.
Mono, your enemies have given you proof that the robots can be changed. They can be redirected to help humanity, not to enslave it and destroy it.
Hey, look at those people down, looking up and waving.
They're waiting for you, Mono. Waiting for you to lead them to freedom.
An action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure in just a moment.
Commander Corey calling all space jockeys. Calling all space jockeys. Accelerate jets. Full speed ahead if you want to get in under the wire, because today is absolutely the last time we will ever be able to offer you a sensational rocket cockpit for your very own. A gang, don't miss out. The rocket cockpit is so much fun, all equipped with moving viewscope, operating speed controls, our secret star drive, master dials that give you the official Space Patrol code, and atomic cannons that really fire. Now, this rocket cockpit is a real model of the one I fly, so you know it's scientific and complete. Now, here's how you get yours. Send your name and address and 25 cents along with 2 wrappers from any Nestle's chocolate bars to Nestle, Box 54, St. Louis, Missouri. That's Nestle, Box 54, St. Louis, Missouri. And do it right now, because this offer will never be made again. And I want all of you to have the thrill of flying with your own rocket cockpit.
And now, a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Buzz is descending the face of a cliff on the planet Gobonic to rescue his friend Mono on a ledge below. In their spaceship on top of the cliff, Happy contacts the commander by spaceophone.
How you doing, Commander?
I've got to go down another 100 feet, Happy. If I can get to Mono before that robot does. Mono, answer me.
What happened, Commander?
Mono collapsed down there on the ledge. The lead robot got him with an immobilizer ray.
Smoking rockets. Can you reach him before the robot?
If I do, I'll be in range of the immobilizer.
I know. Use your blaster on the robot.
From this height, I might hit Mono. And there are 5 more robots closing in.
Be with us again next week for the thrilling Space Patrol story, A Planet in Peril. Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston. Produced and directed by Larry Robertson. Executive producer Helen Moser. Other players were Ken Mayer, Norman Jelly, Bela Kovach, and Tony Sides. Dick Tufeld speaking. This week's Space Patrol was brought to you by Nestle's Eveready, the instant cocoa, Nestle's Quick for great chocolate milk, and famous Nestle's chocolate bars. This program is broadcast to our armed forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol came to you transcribed from Hollywood.
This is ABC Radio Network.